Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the West African Pro League Junior League Day 4, brought to you by Three Crown Esports, another wonderful esports platform. It is your boy Priest, and I am still joined by my main man, Fire. How you feeling? My guy?
Yeah, I'm feeling excited for today. I mean, the past few days has just been absolutely crazy. You know, we're thinking things were going to be easy because this is a junior league, but these guys are not relenting. They're showing us great gameplay, lovely strats. No one is holding back. No one is paying any respect to any of the big boys. Yesterday, we were predicting that, you know, guys like Apex were going to run through the lobby, even Cyclone Shields along with, you know, Fowl Play. But, you know, we had Disparaged getting to winner chicken dinner. So it's hard to predict, you know, there's no underdogs anymore. It's just like, you know, everyone is just balling, and it's lovely to see.
Yeah, you know, we talk about Disparaged and Invictus. You know, they did ball yesterday. Habitual Gaming as well. There's so many other teams, you know, that I wasn't really expecting for them to show, you know, that big kind of dominance in the lobby. But the guys from Habitual were very impressive yesterday, as well as Disparaged, getting themselves 2 out of 4 chicken dinners. Now that is very, very solid, and they are very, very, you know, topmost part of the leaderboard. You know, but then again, we now have a separate set of teams today. For the first time, these teams are also catching a glimpse of each other, and I'm talking about the types, you know, of Active Gaming and Most Wanted, 03 Brothers, you know, the Sidizens, Valhalla, Men of Blood, Fire, so many teams in this particular lobby. But then, do you think, you know, one of the underdog teams, like we talk about, just comes out of nowhere and does something like Disparaged did yesterday?
I think so. I very much think so because you can't rule anyone out at this particular stage. There's so many teams who are performing at a high level. We even saw yesterday there were certain teams that weren't doing so well in the first day, like Invictus, who came on and they got a winner chicken dinner. You had other teams who haven't really been able to get into their rhythm, still get one or two eliminations, like a squad like Tryout, for example. So even if that team that you're saying is an underdog isn't really forming at the highest level, they can still cause a lot of damage.
You're right about that one. Yeah, when they do tend to cause damage, it affects the leaderboards and how the rest of the other teams are going to feel and maintain their own personal spots. Every team plays off of each other, so it's really a matter of how consistent can you be, because you talked about Invictus did win game 1, but they fell off right after that. They did not have the best of games in the following set of games. They did very, very good in Aranjo, and then in Sanok they got eliminated quite early. In Vikendi the same thing, and then in Miramar even almost the same. The same scenario. They did survive just a tad bit longer, but it was not as consistent as a chicken dinner performance. Not to talk about Disparaged on the other hand, who got themselves 2 chicken dinners and still managed to get some early elimination points in the other maps. So I'm looking forward to how these teams are going to get these points, because the point system right now, it is all about eliminations. Fire, who can eliminate more than the next man, who can eliminate as early as possible.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, if I was the IGL of certain teams, who may not have that confidence to go on and push, let's say, the other aggressive, because there are teams. I'm not going to say there are teams who are underdogs. I'll say they're more passive, and then maybe they're more aggressive teams, right? If I was in a more passive team like we saw yesterday, the guys from Invictus, not be trying to face Apex early on, right? I'll be facing Apex at a point where I could have an upper hand, maybe when they are fighting or when they've just bled out from taking on another team, because you want to fight some teams. You want to be realistic about your chances and take them on when you're at your best, or when you're best looted, when you have the best vest on, and all those kind of stuff. So that would be my advice to some of the teams who are feeling like, they probably have less chances. Make your rotations, take on teams, from third-party situations. Get out of fights when you're losing. And for me, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
It's also very, very nice, if you are going to play a certain way, to fit into a certain kind of lobby. These teams that are playing today, they have not played against each other before, so they are all, kind of going to pick up based off of the first couple of maps. Maybe Eranjo and Sanok will give a little bit of a feel to how you want to navigate, what you want to do, how you want to play the game, and you have to be super, super consistent. You have to be sure that, okay, this play style is what we're going to be using for this lobby. This is going to work here. This is what we've practiced on. This is what we've trained on. But it still boils down to individual performances across the board. If the players are going to stick to the plan, and if the play zone is going to favor them, as we see, Novo is the playing path choice this time around. From that, what I call it, southwestern part, or southeastern part rather, moving all the way towards the entire western position. So it's a split across the middle. I do know that 21st Century is going to be among the first teams to hop out of the plane, as they tend to play military base, but then the play zone is going to be very, 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 very decisive in how the rest of these teams are going to navigate this particular playing path.
All right. This is not one of my favorite play zones, because I feel like this one is really tricky. If it goes towards the center around school, Bochinki and the rest, then that is still fine for a lot of teams. But a lot of guys like who maybe have their landing spots around maybe Severny, Yasnaya, Rosehawk, have to hop into the vehicles and start rotating towards those regions if they want to stick to the landing spots. Some of them might decide, hey, you know what, I'm just going to change. I'm going to move around to other spots, and we may see 1 or 2 teams landing within the same region and have some early skirmishes. We'll see how that one goes. All right, so taking a look at the way things are currently situated, guys, remember to hit that like and hit that subscribe. We have two teams who have landed within the region of Milta. We do have the boys from one who are currently on ground with Sidizens, and Sidizens are one of those teams that we do expect to see a lot from. We're also seeing Extremist going it out with the boys from Free, and you can see right there, Free Hawkeye getting a punch into his opponent and taking him down.
Oh, that's an unfortunate way to kick things off. He did get caught out there. I think he was disconnected, and the guys from Free Esports just used the opportunity to snag themselves some eliminations. But then again, I did see the SLR come out from skies there and catch one of the players, I believe, from I'm not sure what team that was, but someone did get caught out. But wait a minute, did the Citizens just eliminate one nation? Oh my days, that was quick. That has to be the quickest one I've seen so far. That was absolutely quick. That was so quick. I don't even know what just happened. 3 eliminations just out the window there, and 3 eliminations to one player, I believe, out the window there, and then another elimination to another person. But I did see one person got 3 knocks. It was so quick. It happened all so quickly. I mean, there's still people in their parachutes in the air. Fire. I still see some people with parachutes in the air, man.
Absolutely. Because some of the teams landed in around that region in Milta, both of those teams, and Citizens were the first to get themselves some weapons and get into some action. Not far away from them also, there's another fight going down between the boys from Extremist and of course first Artics right here. You can see right here Skies is trying as much as possible to send the shots onto Wolf, who I do believe is trying to get his teammate back up, but wasn't able to succeed as Wolf made sure or as Skies made sure that he distracted Wolf long enough for his teammate to bleed out.
Well, it's unfortunate for the guys from Extremist. They've already lost Sleek and Coxel, 2 players already down at the behest of the guys from First Arctics. First Arctics is another team that you have to be very, very wary of. They are super, super aggressive, super consistent. They know how to hold positions, especially Yomite and Skies. Rag and Bone also plays wonderful support. They are one of those teams that has been actually very, very stubborn, very, very, very capable so far. But unfortunately, I'm seeing them as a 3-man team right here, so I'm not seeing this as a viable option. But the guys from Extremists want to take this engagement. Actually, they want to eliminate Skies. They know that he's one player, while his teammate is going to come in on time. He switches again to the left side. That's a beautiful shot there with the SLR, and he might just do the trick. This is a gun that has extremely high damage, but then the rest of his teammates pull up to the scene. Rag and Bone comes right through again. Bullets are right out there, and he does drop in with the SLR. It is so hard to do that because the SLR is a single tap weapon. Fire. Do you like using single tap weapons?
Amazing stuff, especially if you can tap very fast, like I can. Like, trust me, like if I was to be playing scrims again, I'd be carrying like single tap weapons like to CQC fights. But that's me. I'm abnormal.
Wow. So you're telling me that you would use TMR in CQC? Yes, fire. Yes. Chelsea, come on now.
Yes, we can.
Chelsea, come on now. Let's be real. Let's be real.
We can have a live stream. 1v1. We'll test this out. You see what I mean? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, especially if I'm using my.
So that's what you're using your fingers for now. Yeah, that's what you're using your fingers for. Fire.
Yes, iPad and some hacks, especially if I have some hacks.
First Arctics do catch a break there, Skies, with 2 eliminations in his pocket, and it looks like they have a plan of getting some quick numbers, because they are already down a player. They did come in as a 3-man, and that is not the most ideal way to come into tournaments of this magnitude, but they have been holding themselves very, very fine. The guys from the Citizens as well have been holding themselves. Now, Fire, we know that this lobby is particularly very, very stressful because there's a whole lot of big teams in here. The Citizens, 03 Brothers, 21st Century, all inside of one lobby. Active Gaming is here as well. Harsh Esports, Most Wanted. So many teams are also here. Even Vibe, Vibe Boy Teams is here as well. So it is so crazy. What kind of strategy do you think wins here, though? What strategy wins here?
I think it is a team that keeps themselves, away from trouble the most, but is going in for those third parties because we saw it seem like Apex do that a lot. They weren't getting into those direct confrontations where they were going like 4v4. What they were actually doing was you would see one or two of their players go in, maybe Wizard or maybe Kuma, go in for those third parties. They're looking for those easy knocks and easy kills where they're here and they can sniff out like two teams fighting. They go there and then they steal one or two kills and then they pull out. They move somewhere else. You understand? At the end of the day, building up into that final circle, they have themselves 6 or 8 kills where they haven't actually gone into direct confrontation with any team actually, but they're just farming kills, where they see some weakness. If you can keep your full squad, get a couple of kills that way and move into the final circle, then yes, definitely you would be in a good spot at the end of the day in the overall leaderboard.
Well, it is really about that leaderboard, another team as well. The guys from Afro Esports, equally as strong, equally as very, very capable, equally as dangerous, as the top teams out there. So it's really imperative, you do talk about the leaderboard. And the leaderboard so far is so interesting. There's a whole lot of teams out there that have not been performing the best, and I believe it is going to be the top 22 teams that go through into the senior league, and now we have about how many teams in here? I think we have like 32. I think we have like 32 teams. So that's like 10 teams are going to be chopped straight out of the gate. Insane cut. That is an insane cut fire to make it, bottom 10. It is so hectic. There are some teams that are struggling, just hanging up by a thread right there. And what do you think they should do to improve their standing? Because every single map is different. You have to have a plan. What do you think the plan should be?
I think right now at this point, the game and the teams are so evenly balanced that you could have one good game where you have like maybe 10 kills and a winner with a chicken dinner and you're boosted up way on that leaderboard. You get what I mean? Because so many teams are performing. So many, like you could have one team where it's like Sidizens that gets the winner with a chicken dinner and a lot of kills. The next game is First Artics. The next game is Active. The next game is Vibe Gaming. The next game is 21 Century. So all you have to do is just keep playing your game and maybe, just maybe, your turn or your opportunity may come to perform really well in the game. But while you're doing that, try and scrape out as much placement or kill points as you can, because you need to have those average games, right? You need to have those games where you're not winning, but you're continuing to rack up, those 5, 10, 8 points here and there.
Yeah. Exactly, it's all about scraping through and getting some major points for yourself, and let's not forget the guys from Solo Esports are here, and Solo Esports actually sits, somewhere around the 23, 24 right now, sitting alongside Harsh Esports, New Generation, even Extreme Vawlence, Free Esports as well. All of these teams are the teams you're seeing in the lobby right now, and they have to do a whole lot to get themselves out of that 20-something, that bubble area where you've got the guys from Tryout Squad, Men of Blood, and Goth Esports, those teams that have already played yesterday. Now they have to play now these brand new teams that are just meeting themselves for the first time, they need to do a whole lot of research and understand that the points that they need to, to gain, to acquire is a lot. So, and just like you said, you have to be very clear on your plan. Do you want to go for placement? Do you want to get eliminations? Do you want to do both? Do you want to squeeze through, or do you just want to hold out? So I am looking forward to seeing how these teams are going to manage. The guys from Valhalla already spotting Quexar from 21st Century, but bullets being sent towards his vehicle might just blow him up if he's not careful. But then 21st Century, beautiful reply from Baby from the left-hand side. Sigma just got caught lacking there.
Oh, Valhalla in a whole lot of trouble as they're down to just 2 players left in this one. It is Beast and 007 to keep them alive in this particular game. But the boys from 21st Century just coming in right there, as you can see, and getting a knock onto, or a finish onto one of those players right there from Valhalla. 21st Century getting their first elimination in the game, looking to see if they can take out the rest of the players right there from Val. You can see that Six-Man is looking, and his teammate Quexar is hunting for the opportunity to take down the rest of the guys. Will the boys of Valhalla be able to pull back you know, a couple of kills, keep them alive in this game, but we'll see how that one does go down. As the boys from 21st Century did get another knock. It's now down to Beast. Can't even run to his name. He's happened onto the vehicle, trying to get out of that position. He's down to just 1 HP. Will he be able to stay alive in this one, or would that be the end of the boys right there?
Ooh, Valhalla getting caught out there. Caught slipping once again. Sigma was the first to go down, and now Beast is trying to escape from the clutches of Power and 6Ben. They are chasing him down to the ends of the earth, trying to get those eliminations, and it might just be, you know, his most unlucky day. He might just get sent back into the lobby if he's not able to escape. You can see him driving away.
Oh my god!
Still hot on his tail. This is Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit Edition, because 6Ben is not gonna rest. He wants to send him back. He wants to end the game for the guys from Valhalla, but Beast is just too OP in the jackpot strats. He manages to get out of dodge and escape from the clutches of 21st Century.
Man, that was amazing coming in from Beast, as he was able to escape the shots right there coming in from all of these guys. He's there trying to send him back. He's down to pretty much what is 1 HP. But anyways, let's turn our sights now onto the boys from Active Gaming, who are going up against Afro Esports. They got about 3 of the players who are currently down. Afro Esports putting in the work onto the boys from Active Gaming right here. Active Gaming, another team that we have spoken about doing quite well, but they're down to just Sleepless, who was the last guy in the team, and now they have been sent back into the lobby. Active Gaming going out in 15th position, getting only 2 kills to themselves. And they've been taken out by the boys right there from Afro. Piki getting himself 3 kills, as well as OJ getting 1 kill in that fight.
Ooh, Peachy, absolutely brilliant play from him, pitching his tent onto the guys from Active Gaming. It's all about getting caught out on rotation, really. Active Gaming they were having a blast just until the guys from Afro Esport rotated using the boat, and they did pull up to that scenario there. Beast finally succumbing and going down out there to the 14th place. So that is going to be the end of Valhalla Esports. The Citizens getting caught out again by 03 Brothers. Grenade from Rails just connecting to Bego there. The guys from First Artics, they are holding this compound position. It's a very, very beautiful rotation that they've got themselves in, and it might just be working outside for them. They are trying to hold the bridge, I believe, trying to, you know, camp out this position and eliminate teams that are trying to get inside of the play zone using the bridge. Now, this is a classic defensive play, but it's also known as an offensive maneuver just to get yourself some quick elimination points without having to do too much.
So the skirmish going down between the boys from Citizens and 03. 03 coming into this game as a 3-man squad against the boys from Citizens, who had a full squad just before this fight, but have lost 1 player, of course, very well, and a very important player in this particular fight, which is Bego. But here's the problem for Citizens. The boys from 5 Gaming are also looking to move and rotate towards this position, and this may spell some trouble for the boys from 5 Gaming, because there are 2 teams on opposite ends of that bridge, and that may be a whole lot of trouble, because moving through the middle, they might lose at least 2 players.
Yeah, you know, and you do not want to lose 2 players, you know. You do not want to lose 2 players at all, that is for sure. And I do not want to get caught out on this, you know, particular rotations that all of these teams are getting involved in. You know, 21st Century still holding this little position outside here, just trying to keep these teams, you know, at bay, and, you know, trying to keep them stuck outside. You know, so it's so interesting to see how these teams want to play this. You know, I'm super interested in the military base play. You know, 21st Century, that is their home ground. They know how to play, you know, the military base. But 03 Brothers rotating just towards the edge there, trying to take out the Citizens. 1 player from the Citizens has already gone down. I believe that's Bego. This is a 3v3. Beautiful play from Rails right there. He does use the Molotov cocktail, but he is going to be blown up by a grenade from Joker. That's a beautiful return. And now the Citizens are going to use the opportunity just to get their numbers back up.
Oh, all right. You can see Jetso trying as much as possible to keep them alive in this particular game. They have that player who was taken down brought back up in the game, and what looked like they were on the back foot against the boys on 03 is now 03 running for their life, trying to hang on to this particular game. Nexus and his boys have got to pull something out of the cards. You can see the boys right there from 5 Gaming lurking around, just waiting for that opportunity to go in and bite, take out the teams right there. They're already beginning to make the move. So Citizens have got to be really careful careful of that one. Maybe, just maybe, that might buy the boys of O3 time to be able to retreat away from that fight with the boys right there from Sidizens.
Ooh, nice spray coming in from Bougie there. He does have a beautiful spray as he tags up another couple of players from the Sidizens. Now the Sidizens are stuck between a rock and a hard place, but fortunately for them, they do have a little bit of play zone to work with, you know, so they can hang out here just a little bit longer, but the guys from Vibe do need to make that rotation. They do need to find a way inside of the play zone, you know, and they do need to make those moves as quickly as possible, just so they do not get caught out. The Sidizens already with 5 eliminations to boot, so they've already got themselves a couple of points, so they do have a little bit of leeway to play, you know, because if you do have some eliminations in your bag, all you have to do now is to tank through and see if you can, you know, survive for as long as possible.
Oh, what a time in this game right there. The boys from Sidizens currently sitting down with 5 kills to themselves. They have the most eliminations in the game, but they have lost one of their main men right there, Beko. We'll see how that one continues to play out for them in this particular game, as Jetto is picking up that mantle and leading the force, keeping the boys right there from O3 at bay in this fight, as O3 is down to 2 players. But they really got to be careful of the boys from Vibe Gaming, who have got a full squad, just lurking around right there, looking to pull up into that location. O3 is still holding the position right there in on the bridge, so it's going to be really tough for Vibe Gaming to rotate in. You can see them just basically trying as much as possible to plan their move into that location within the zone. It's going to be really tough, as several different players are obviously going to be going down while these teams decide to make their move. It might be mutually assured destruction on all ends, as they have got the zone to battle with as we're moving into stage 4.
Yes, sir. You know, stage 4 is so unfriendly. It is a very, very unfriendly zone, very unfriendly circle. You do not want to get caught out inside. You do not want to be fighting outside of the play zone, and definitely not inside of zone 4. But Joker trying to keep the guys from Vibe at bay. M16 in hand, sends a couple of shots towards that direction. Kenny is going to be tagged up immediately. That's a nice touch from Joker there, but it's not going to be enough to drop him immediately. But 21st Century finally getting caught in between the guys from Solo Esports, and I believe there's another team south of their position, but Solo is trying to make them pay immediately for their violence, you know, and it looks like 21st Century, this might just be the first engagement that they need to be very, very wary of their position.
Absolutely. We'll see how this one actually does play out. Speaking of wary of the situation, you can see now the boys right there from Most Wanted taking out and sending Lobby back into the lobby. Now the boys from 21st Century have lost one of their major players right there, Baby, who was absolutely aggressive for them in this particular game. You can see the split coming in from Most Wanted, so 6-man has got to be really careful. He pops in that grenade to at least put in some damage. I'm not sure if he's aware of the position right there coming in for one of, but ooh, it does look like they're fighting back at this one as they've taken him down, looking to see if they can get that elimination right there. Fuckboy not too far away from them, trying to cook and nade it onto the boys right there, onto the First Century, but there's also Hash lurking around behind, looking to get their third parties, and they've got to be really careful. But it doesn't look like 21st Century is holding back on this one. They want to make that push. They want to get that kill. They want to take out the boys right there from Most Wanted from the game.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting play. You know, the guys from Most Wanted are playing a defensive position here. This is not an easy area to defend, but then Fatboy is going to be spotted again by 6-Ben, and he is going to go down immediately. Beautiful drop shot from 6-Ben, sends him down to his knees immediately with immediate effect, that is for sure. Confirmation comes through to Fuckboy there, and 21st Century add another notch to their bet. 5 eliminations to them, but then the guys from Most Wanted, that is not the end. Harsh Esports still lurking in the corners. They're still lurking behind in the shadows. This might just be the perfect opportunity for them to take out and take action, you know, and get themselves some sweet third-party points. But it looks like they are just going to be spectated at this one and watching the distance. Lily is the last player up for the guys from Most Wanted. He's trying to keep his team alive, trying to keep their hopes of getting at least one extra point. Every point counts here, Fire. Every single point counts at this stage if you are trying to qualify, especially if you are Most Wanted, you know.
Absolutely. The boys right there from 3 Crowns the boys right there from Most Wanted, sorry, trying to keep themselves alive in this particular game, down to the very last guy in Nigerian Pigeon. You're saying, now them go find trouble, you know, biting the lion's tail, taking out one of their players right there, Baby, and now they're struggling to keep themselves in this particular game as the boys from 21 are just surrounding them. You can see right there the last shot coming in from 6-Man as he made those rotations with his vehicle and got the last last blood. So definitely 21st Century getting the revenge onto the boys right there from Most Wanted, getting themselves 6 kills in this one. They still got a 3-man squad. We still got 11 teams in this game. And man, Priest, what would you say? I mean, it's still status quo. Teams like 21st Century, Sidizens are still balling. They're still doing their thing on their second day.
Yeah, it's very lukewarm, because the teams that you are expecting to perform are performing. I'm still looking for, one of those teams that you're not expecting too much from them, like Team Extreme right now. I've been expecting them to perform a certain way, to perform at a certain level based on the players that they have in their team. But so far they've just been hustling. They are in that bubble. They are in the 2020 something position, so they do need to, do more. They do need to do better, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they navigate even free esports as well. They're also one of those teams that are hanging up, in the bubble position there. The play zone has shifted in a much more southern part, and again, it is so good for the guys from 21st Century. I mean, they landed in military base, so they don't necessarily have to drive around too much, and they've managed to pick up some eliminations from themselves. But you can see it's only Solo Esports, Harsh Esports, and 21st Century that do have a little bit of play zone.
Speaking of having a little bit of play zone, there are a couple of teams who are currently within that blue, and we spoke about them earlier on. It's the boys from Sidizens as well as the boys from Afro, who have to continue to now begin to rotate. Our boys from Citizens is going to be clashing with Afro Esports. We'll see how that one goes down, but it does look like Afro is holding a portion of that breeze. But you shouldn't be doing that if you're in the blue, and they might be looking to rotate too as well. Live Gaming just moving all the way towards the other end of the bridge, looking to rotate too as well, but they've also got the boys from Extreme while holding an edge of that bridge as well. So we'll see how that one does go down for them, as we do see the boys from Citizens making their rotations. The 7 Gotti, as you can see right there on the kill feed, has gone down to one of the players right there from Afro. It is Hunter, and is looking for that final elimination as he looks to take him out. Citizens now down to just 2 players, down to just Joker and Jetto in this game as they continue to move in.
Was an unfortunate scenario there, but the guys from Afro, I talked about this. This is the easiest way to get eliminations without having to do, much of anything. All you have to do is position yourself and wait for teams that cross the bridge to eliminate them. I mean, if you take a look, the Citizens, they've been holding outside of the bridge for the longest of time with the guys from 03, and they did, get past the guys from 03 brothers, but only for them to run into the guys from Afro. It is the same play, just at different sides of the bridge. So they did a fantastic job so far. They were able to walk away with 7 eliminations, and they are now down to 1 player. It is unfortunate, but the guys from Afro Esports do have 6 eliminations, and they've been doing a fantastic job of holding out. Speaking of 6 eliminations, 21st Century also have 6 eliminations, but they are also down 1 player. So I'm looking to see if they can maintain it, because the guys from Men of Blood are a complete 4-man team, and they might just decide to push onto them in this position. Afro Esports, they are very, 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 very capable fire.
Yeah, absolutely. The boys from Afro Esport, very capable, as they have several different teams around them right now, but now they're beginning to feel the heat of several different teams taking on the shots. While they are making the rotations of their own, they have a couple of players who are down. Be curious to see if they can get those revives just in time. But now let's turn our sides, Priest, onto the boys from Men of Blood, who are now deciding, hey, you know what, we want to take it out with some of that giants around the lobby or around the game so far, and come up against the boys from 21st Century, who are currently sitting down as the kill leaders of this game and sending on the shots right there onto Wolf. Wolf is down to pretty much what is 1 HP. Can his teammates provide him with the support that he needs before he does get taken down? You do see Lobby right there providing that support that I just spoke about, Priest, and it's looking like a really tough one now for the boys for 21st Century.
It is an unfortunate scenario for the guys from Men of Blood, though. I was expecting a little bit of a different kind of performance from them, but that's a beautiful grenade. Might just do the trick here. Ooh, 6Ben is going to be spotted and tagged down. Lobby has to be careful. He does not need to overextend. He does not need to expand, but his teammate Wolf is going to be sent back into the lobby. Speak of the devil. Speak of the guys lurking in the shadows. It's Harsh Esports getting a couple of eliminations inside of the game as well, but Rage taking the fight towards the guys from 21st Century. He gets the first knock, but he's not going to get the second. The cover fire from Lobby is there. The left-hand side is trying to peek in from outside, but 21st Century just too OP in defense. They send the guys from Men of Blood back into the lobby. 9 eliminations for them, and it looks like now is the time for Harsh Esports to deal damage, to steal, to reap and destroy where they did not sow fire.
Absolutely. Speaking of where they did not sow, lovely defense coming in from the boys from 21st Century in that one. I thought at some point the boys from MOB were going to hold off in that particular game, but oh, what a time. All right, so let us now finally look at how many teams are left in this particular game. The boys from Harsh are currently sitting down, I do believe, with a 2-man squad, but they are sitting in that zone quite comfortably. On the other end, you have a full team coming in from Solo. Speaking of Solo is one of those teams, right, that we've spoken about, them, the Senegalese team, that hasn't been able to perform quite as well as we do expect them to. You know, they're a team that has been in the PMCO. They have also been in the Mzansi for a long time, so you do expect to see them come in here and basically run through the lobby, but it hasn't been that way for them as all the teams have stepped it up. We still got about 7 teams. The boys from Extreme are rotating around them. Oh, you also have First Artics, who's all the way towards their east, and also Vibe Gaming not too far away from them. So they are playing quite defensive as they've got themselves 2 kills so far. They can now begin to turn the sights onto the boys from Extreme. As you can see right there, Samurai getting another knock right there, Priest.
Ooh, just a beautiful way to wrap up the game for the guys from Extreme. Unfortunately, they just able to squeeze out with just 2 eliminations, and the grenade after grenade coming towards the guys from First Arctics. They are in a very, very tricky position. Now they are the next victims of 21st Century. 21st Century going on and on and on. 6 Ben, the miracle worker, the one that's doing all the damage. 21st Century dealing extraordinary amounts of damage to this lobby. They have 12 eliminations and counting. Solo Esports now setting their sights towards the guys from Vibe Gaming. They need to be careful. Iceman, Kenny, and Bougie, the last 3 left. They need to find a way to navigate, to find a way inside of the play zone there. But now Solo has been spotted. Doctor still trying to keep them at bay. The smoke's already starting to come outside for the guys from Vibe Gaming. They've already lost 1 player. Bougie is going to be knocked down, and it's all left to Iceman to keep the rest of these ops at bay. But the play zone, 20 seconds out, trying to squeeze all of these players one after the other fire. There's 12 players in here. There's 12 bodies still circling around this tiny circle, and now we have 4 teams.
Man, absolutely. There's 4 teams vying in for that top position, but there's only 1 team currently sitting down with a full squad, and that is the boys from Solo Esports. Obviously, will now be looking to get themselves into a good position within that zone. It does look like they found a corner for themselves, but Vibe Gaming is also pulling up onto that region. You can see Minty looking to see if he can take out the boys from Vibe Gaming. If you want to win this game, this is your moment. But the boys from Solo have lost 2 players. They're fighting for their life to keep themselves in this game as they do take out right there the boys from Vibe Gaming.
Oh, fantastic play from Solo Esports. Fantastic defensive play. They were able to defend their position, but I did believe they lost the player in the process going against the guys from Vibe. Now 21st Century about to be squeezed out by the play zone. They are by the edge. Harsh Esports have not done too much. All they have had to do is stay inside of the play zone and obtain all the ops from that, that eastern position. They've been just hanging out there, taking a couple of shots where they can. They're not necessarily overextending. They're not doing too much. They just want the chicken dinner. They just want the 10 points. They don't care how many eliminations they can, they can squeeze out. They just want 10 points. But 21st Century, on the other hand, is the other side of that coin. They want the chicken dinner, but they want to do, double digits as well. 13 eliminations to them. Quexa, 6 Ben, all of them doing insane work here.
Yeah, the boys from 21st Century continuing their onslaught onto several teams around them as they do take down another player right there from Solo Esports. Solo Esports will be looking to see if they can perform quite well, but right now the boys from 21st Century are not relenting as Power and his teammates are pulling up onto their location and taking them down. Right now the boys from 21st Century are currently now sitting down with 15 kills. Now we'll be looking to see if they can grab that winner chicken dinner against the boys from Hash, who are just playing things quite slow. Hash on the other end, you can see the contracts of the story. They've got themselves only 2 kills in this one. All they've had to do is stay in that zone, and they've been quite lucky so far. You can see that they've got a good position. They are in a comfortable spot within that zone, but one doesn't have an angle to provide support onto Peace, and I do believe that Peace can get taken down quite easily without him having support from his teammate, and that's exactly what happens.
Oh, that's an unfortunate scenario there. Peace getting caught out, and now Quexa is trying to make that rotation from the left-hand side. Six Ben coming from the right, and Power straight down the middle is all left to one. The last player for Harsh Esports is a 3 versus 1. They did get caught out, by element of surprise there, but then it was a very, very planned walk. All they had to do was bait, Peace into that position, and now the moment one peeks his head out, they are going to send a couple of bullets his way. He peeks out again, sends some shots towards Power, but he does manage to drop him. Beautiful use of cover there. It looks like it might just be a dangerous scenario, but Six Ben, you can see him flaking left and right, up, down, and center, trying again to get the 1v1. He is going to drop him immediately with fantastic effect. Six Ben, the best at that CQC.
21, can you do something
for me? Can you talk to the op? They talk to the ops.
Oh man, lovely stuff coming in from 21st Century, getting themselves the winner chicken dinner, but at the same time grabbing 17 kills. That obviously is going to boost them up way on the leaderboard, and they're doing it again right here on the second day. So showing that it is no fluke. They are a team that is properly organized for getting the kills as well as grabbing the winner chicken dinner. But lovely individual gameplay as well as good teamwork coming in from the entire team. You had Six Ben getting himself 7 kills. His teammate Quexa getting 5 kills. Between the two of them alone, they got double digit, but that doesn't take anything away from Baby and Power still putting in their own, getting 5 kills total between them.
Man, Six Ben needs to be stopped. That guy needs to be stopped, man. They need to stop him, man. He needs to be nerfed, bro. Because I saw, the rotation patterns, the way he took the fight. That guy is not afraid of anything. Look at the 1v1 against 1. He went up there. He said, "Yeah, I'm gonna take you, bro. You can't shoot me. I'm better. I'm stronger. I'm faster. I'm the one who knocks." Six Ben is absolutely fantastic. For 21st Century, he has been the best signing they've done. And it's starting to show. It's starting to show working. So I'm super impressed. 17 eliminations. It is no small feat. That's like 27 points right out the gate already. So they already know for a fact, that they've scaled a couple of teams already. But Harsh Esports, second place with just 2 eliminations. That is not great. It is actually not great. That is not great for sure. You have to do better. If you're trying to climb the leaderboards, you have to do better.
Yeah, exactly. If they want to continue to climb the leaderboard, they need a lot more eliminations than just getting the placement points. But regardless, if that was a bad game for them, they still grabbed a couple of points. But GG's to Six Ben himself, getting 7 kills in that particular one. And, that does not tell the entire story. I mean, he could have easily had 12 kills. He had 5 assists to his name. That's to show you that he was doing a lot more damage than what we even saw in this particular game. So lovely stuff coming in from 21st Century altogether, grabbing themselves a whole bunch of kills and moving up on that leaderboard. Great stuff from them.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from 21st Century. I mean, you can see, the damage across the board. It's not even balanced this time around. They just ran away with it, They just literally ran away with it. It is super interesting as well to see the Citizens, tap in here. They did get themselves some eliminations, but they did get into early engagements. Their engagements were just, unnecessarily too early, and they did get caught out, time and time again. Afro Esports also there, putting some numbers on the board. And it's so interesting to see. Unfortunately, Fire, you're gonna have to, run through this one. I may have encountered some technical difficulties to be sorted in a couple of seconds.
All right, so taking a look at the game right now, you can see that there's a huge disparity between the amount of damage and kills that's been done by 21st Century and the rest of the leaderboard. What a lovely game going on right there. But let's take a look at the head-to-head between these two teams in the solo esports as well as Afro right there. Both getting themselves 6 kills in this particular game, an equal amount of knocks. They did perform quite well, as you did see Solo Esports getting taken out by the boys right there from 21st Century just before they moved on to taking out Hash Esports in second place. So lovely gameplay coming in from Solo Esports as they did finish that game in third place. We'll be looking to see what they can perform in other games so far. Overall rankings, as you can see, is 21st Century at the end of this particular game, finishing themselves with 27 points in this one. Just in one game, they were able to rack up so many points, with Solo Esports getting 11. And you can see that the rest of the leaderboard has so little to share. Between Solo and 21st Century alone, they gathered about 38 points. Not even the rest of the leaderboard has up to that. But kudos to the boys from House Esports and the boys from Sidizens grabbing 8, 7, and 7 points together. So we'll see how that one goes on to build in the next few games, if the boys from 21st Century can replicate the performances, or other teams who have showed us glimpses of Vawlence, like Afro Esports, like Sidizens, Hash, and even Solo Esports can come on and perform quite well again. All right, so in the meantime, we'll be taking a quick break. We'll be back for some more action in a couple of minutes. Let's go.
surprise. Dropping all your bombs, yeah. Trying to shoot me down, took me by surprise. Looking at my life, yeah. Life, yeah. Made it so far, made it so far. Waited so long, waited so long. Oh. Oh. Oh, again. Oh, again. Oh, again.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yes, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the West African Pro League Junior League Day 4. And it is your boy Priest still here rocking it with my guy Fire. And we just saw 21 do something, Fire. We just saw 21 do something.
Yeah, we saw them do something for us, man. They got themselves 27 points in that game. It was absolutely outstanding. Not just grabbing the points, but how they did it. We saw so many different teams who were trying to go into, that game and grab the winner with a chicken dinner, like even Solo Esports towards the end. But 21 was just a stumbling block for so many different teams there and just kept on wiping them out. All right, so we'll see whether this game lives up to those performances, Priest. What do you think? Do you think that they'll replicate that, or maybe all the teams will step it up now?
21st Century, I wouldn't necessarily see them, too strong in Sanhok, but then they do know how to take engagements. They do know how to play split, especially with 6Ben in the mix. He's an absolutely fantastic player, and he has been showing his workings so far. And again, we need to talk about Solo Esports. They did a very, very good job managing to squeeze out, third place, in that game. So I'm looking forward to seeing if they are going to maintain that energy. But this is Sanhok, everything has to be quick, everything has to be decisive, everything has to be fast, and then you have to maintain that energy. You have to keep it up. You have to do the exact same thing. I mean, look at the point disparity, between 21st Century and the rest of these teams. It is 27 points to the next 11. That's about at least a 16-point difference. Those are too many numbers to ignore. Solo Esports, Harsh, Sidizens, Afro Esports, they need to do better. They need to do more to catch up.
All right, so speaking about teams doing more, they're already gearing up for what is going to be a very violent game in Sanhok. Usually you would see teams deciding that they were going to, do a little bit of the heal strats. But with the new point system out right now, heal strats are really not going to be in your favor if you decide that is the gameplay that you're going to employ. So a lot of these teams will be looking to see if they can grab a lot of those kill points right here as we move into the Sanhok game. All right, so let's see how that one is going to play out as the teams are already getting ready to hop onto their planes and begin what is going to be an amazing fight in the second game of the night here, Priest.
Yeah, the style of play for Sanhok is quick, click, clack, boom. You have to be very, very certain of how you want to take your engagements. Your engagements needs to be one and done really, really quickly. You have to wrap things up. You have to be very, 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 very aggressive when you take your engagements. Reduce the number of casualties, that come through when you take those engagements with other teams. And again, try to not be a victim of third parties, because it is so easy in this map to fall victim to third party engagement. It is so easy. It is the easiest thing, to get caught lacking in Sanhok. Sanhok is so small. If you shoot in the north, even in the south, they will hear the sound of your M416 and they will rush to your position to see what is going on there.
All right, so speaking of getting caught lacking, we do have two teams who have now moved towards that position in boot camp. You do have the boys from Citizens Gaming as well as Afro Esports. So it does look like a fight is going to come down between these two guys right here. And it does look like, Citizens is going for blood in this particular one. They want to begin this one with getting as much kill points as they can and begin the fight quite aggressive right there. So we'll see how that one actually does pull down for this teams, as well as Solo Esports coming up against right here. I do believe it is the boys from Extreme, and you can see Floyd pretty much just holding, the deer mouse right there, waiting for Choco to make that move. All right, you can see that move going down, but the DMR are not able to help Floyd in that particular one, as Choco does get an elimination onto right there. One of the players from Solo Esports, and the rest of his teammates are not there to provide him with that support. As you can see, Samurai from the distance looking to see if he can run in and get at least one elimination onto one of the boys right there from Extreme. Rooney and his teammates just gathering around that region, getting themselves as much loot as they can. Solo Esports not starting this game quite as great as they would have, which you remember that the last game they finished in third place. They got about 6 eliminations, and they'll be looking to see if they can continue to perform better in this particular game right here in Sanhok. But having lost one of their players quite early in this one, it is Floyd to Extreme. We'll see how that one goes down, if they can get their revenge against the boys from Extreme, or if they would just go on and continue to get their loot.
Ooh. Yeah, the guys from Solo Esports, they did have a very, very good first game, but now they have to build on top of that. Extreme is not the team you want to be taking engagement with this early in the game. They've already lost Floyd, so I believe, in order for them to survive this engagement, they need to be very, very strict. They need to keep their margins tight. They have a very, very open split right now, and it's not necessarily the best, strategy for them to be playing in Ruins. Ruins is very, very exposed. Speaking of exposed, Samurai has been caught there by Sound, a beautiful spray with the QBZ, and now Solo Esports are down to 2 players. Extreme looking like they just might take the upper hand here. Mighty just pulling up to the scene, about to take an engagement with Sean X there. Sean already charging his grenade, might just be the first course of action, might just do the trick and eliminate him. He knows of his position, and the rest of his teammates will be pulling off. That's a beautiful grenade, drops the doctor by 10 HP. He has to retreat surely, but now this one will be no retreat, no surrender. You will retreat, my guy, and he is going to be caught by Sound, and another one goes down in flames. Fire.
Oh, absolutely not the plan right there for the boys from Solo Esports, as they were looking to see if they could get some eliminations onto the boys right there from Extreme. They got a knock pulling up onto this location, but all of a sudden the boys from Extreme were able to fight back, hold their own, get a couple of knocks, and right now it is the boys from Solo Esports who are at the position where they could get taken out of this game quite early on. It is sad to see, as it would not have been their plan pulling up onto this one. They are now on the chase, and it is the boys from Extreme looking and lurking around to get them out of the game.
Oh, that's it. That's so unfortunate for the guys from Solo Esports. I thought they were going to build off of the last game they had. You can see Doctor, running away from the ops right there. The guys from Extreme chasing them down. But Doctor, I believe he is going to make it out just in time. But then again, he has to be so relieved that he's able to run away just across the pond right there and escape, the danger coming in from the guys from Extreme. But Harsh Esports are the ones that are going to be, running from that position as well to deal damage towards the guys from Extreme. And this is what happens in Sanok. So many bodies clashing into each other. You can see Daddy there. He is going to be spotted and dropped to his knees right quick by the guys from Extreme. Choco being the victor right here, and again Daddy being the victim. Ooh, that's a beautiful play from the guys from Harsh Esports, and now they've already lost one of their players. It is an unfortunate scenario, but then they still have 3 players up. They might just be able to do something here against the guys from Extreme. But I talked about Extreme. They have good individual players. All they have to do is work on their teamwork, and that is going to be very, very fantastic for them.
All right, Sean X and the boys doing as much as possible to keep themselves alive in this game. But we do look at the elimination board. We do see the boys from Citizens have gone out quite early in this game as well. But turning our sights right now, we do have Harsh, who are down to just 2 players in this particular game. Daddy and One currently being sent back into the lobby. And it was such an amazing time right there for the boys from Extreme, as they currently sitting down with 5 kills to their name.
5 eliminations, big numbers for them. Now this is the the kind of play I've been expecting from this team so far, and I talked about it just a couple of seconds ago when I said individually Extreme Vawlence is a very, very, very strong team of individual players, but as a team they just need to work. They just need to work on that teamwork ability. They just need to calculate and understand the tacticalities, and the technicalities of playing together as a team, and they will be very, 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 very successful. And you can already see that now. They've been at a slow start. They didn't necessarily, start at the fastest or the best levels, but I think now they're starting to get a hang of it, And now 5 eliminations with 55 players in the lobby. So all they have to do now is just, replicate and continue to increase those numbers as the game continues to go on. Well, Afro Esports are here in bootcamp.
All right, so absolutely amazing stuff coming in from all of these teams right here. As you can see right there, sitting down in boot camp is the boys from Afro Esports, and not too far away from them is the boys right there from Most Wanted, looking to move across this lines not too far away from boot camp, and it looks like they have been spotted by Afro Esports, who is on that hunt. In fact, and the rest of his teammates are just trying as much as possible to evade the fight so far and get themselves into a good position to take on the boys right there from Afro continuing on the hunt to build up on the game that they had against the boys from Sidizens and are looking for those extra kills. They do need that if they will be looking to move up on that leaderboard.
You know, the leaderboard is the driving force for most of these teams. They do want to stay into that top 22, so they can, you know, be promoted into the senior league. That is the goal. That is where the prizes are stacked. The guys from Afro, 4 eliminations to them, and they're looking to add more. They're looking to increase the numbers. They're looking to increase their point difference. They just saw the guys from 21st Century do 27 points in a single game, so that is enough to wake them for their slumber. And you can see they are already starting off on the strong foot.
Absolutely. Afro Esports starting off on a strong foot. They do get a knock right there onto one diva, take him down. But speaking of strong foots right there, we also do have the boys right there from Active Gaming. How was he able to turn right there and still get a knock? Wait, what? What was that? Anyways, well, it is what it is. TQ getting a knock right there onto another player right there from Hash Esports, and I do believe this is the last player from Hash right there, trying to get that reload just in time. He did take Skinny down, but the rest of the players right there from Active Gaming were able to provide them with enough support quickly just before their teammate got lobbied. All right, so Active Gaming sitting down with 2 kills in this particular one. We're down to 14 players in this game, and we're still in the first stage of the zone about to move. But regardless of that, we've not even taken a look at Paradise Resort. There are 2 teams sitting down right there, just lurking around each other, looking to get into some violence right around those corners.
Yeah, Afro Esports, you know, trying to climb the leaderboards with all of these eliminations is starting to stack up, you know, and we did see TQ there with a fantastic display of CQC. We call them CQC merchants. People like TQ from Active Gaming, we call them CQC merchants. In close quarters combat, they are so deadly, and that is what you saw there. The guys from Harsh Esports feeling the breeze, feeling the brunt of the fire there. You know, the guys from Active Gaming still holding that compound. They are finally within the sights of the guys from Team Afro Esports. But then this north position, this hill of Boost Camp is a very, very, very strong position, very advantageous to most of these teams, you know. And again, spotting in the feed, you can see once again Team Extremist, another team, you know, that has not been able to find their footing in the past couple of games, you know, in the league. Unfortunately for them, they've not been able to do anything of note. But Dollar sends a couple of shots towards Iceman there, drops him immediately with a beautiful spray of the UMP. And now the guys from Team Extreme, they might just decide to take this engagement, but the grenade from Kenny is the one that's going to do the damage that you expect. Sleek is still dropped down, and the guys from Vibe, they might just decide to take this engagement. Iceman is the only one down, and they are trying to get the last elimination there. Coxo jumps outside, trying to get the revive on his teammate, but unfortunately he makes the wrong choice. But then Kenny might be exposed to Dollars there the moment he steps outside, and he does go for the revive. Bougie is going to be the one to take the fight towards the guys from Team Extremist, but again, Coxstar is going to be dropped just right out the gate, and the confirmation from Bougie is going to be sure, and now Extremists are cut down to just 1 player.
Whoa, it was almost mutually assured destruction on both ends in that particular one, as they did lose at least 1 man each on both sides. But right now, it is the boys from Extremists who are down to just a 1-player. Vibe Gaming been able to get the revive back up, and they still got a 3-man squad left in this one. Dolas has got to take the decision, you know, are you going to fight against a 3-man and maybe try to get the kills while the blue zone is also hot on your tails, or just move away from that one? It does look like he's going to do the latter. He's just going to hop on his heels and try to get out of that position as quick as possible. It doesn't look like the boys from Vibe Gaming are chasing him right now, so he has enough time to just pull away from that fight and just get into the zone.
You know, speaking of the zone, it's shrinking every second. You know, I do love the position coming in from the guys from Men of Blood. Fantastic position for them, and they're holding up a little bit of that northern area. Free Esports might just make the right choice, but they are in a split. Solo Esports, the last player, Doctor, you can see him rotating on the bridge right there, trying to find a little bit of a nook and cranny. He might just run into the guys from Free Esports if he's not careful enough, and the violence might just ensue. And yeah, I spoke of it. It's the end. Solo Esports sent back into the lobby, just on the map there. I literally just saw this player on the map.
Oh, Solo Esports not having quite a great time in this particular one as they get sent back into the lobby. But now here comes the boys from O3 Brothers coming in against the boys right there from 21st Century, sending back one of their boys, Baby. It's Baby who goes down again first, and it's also Power who goes down again. So if there's any team who's going to put the boys from 21st Century down on their heels, it is the boys from O3 that you would expect to do that. As the boys from 21st Century have lost 2 players, it's Quexel who's trying to hold them back, but Griff is right there to take him down, and Power's trying to get that revive right, or Sixpence trying to get that revive right there onto Power. Can Sixpence do it all alone against the boys from O3 Brothers who are hot on his heels? You can see him trying to cook that nade, but will that be enough to push them back as Nexus is going right there for the juggler of the last player right there from 21st Century?
Oh, 21st Century can't do this one for sure. They have bitten off more than they can chew, and that is O3. O3 just too OP in that engagement. 0 points at the end of the day. 21st Century getting knocked right out of the gate, but their first engagement, and that is going to be against the guys from O3. That's a beautiful, beautiful push coming in from O3, but the first Artics creeping behind, trying to get something out of the guys from O3. They just saw the engagement. They just saw what just happened, and they know that it's O3. The kill feed has told them otherwise, but now they're ready to take the engagement. But O3, look at that beautiful, beautiful position. They've already fallen back. Now they're waiting for the guys for first Arctics to peek into that position, and they are now going to have to send bullets in that general direction. Your Might is trying to rotate, trying to find an angle from the right-hand side. You can see Nexus there just a little bit if he peeks his head just for too long, but Your Might is trying to take the advantage. He's trying to make the advance towards the guys from O3. Griff is going to be spotted. Shots sent his way, I believe, by the guys from Valhalla. So O3 now, they might just get sandwiched, they might just get squeezed in. Griff again is going to be tagged, and finally Reels is spotted. Yo man, that's a beautiful spray. Drops Reels down to his knees, and now this might just be it. First Arctics and Valhalla working hand in hand to eliminate O3. Bullets trying to fly out, and another one goes down. Your Might is on fire. Oh my days, first Arctics. It looks like they might just do the trick, but now Skies is going to be spotted and sent back into the lobby, but Your Might doesn't care. He wants to take the fight. He wants to be the one that eliminates the O3 brothers. He wants to be, post this montage on Instagram tomorrow. Switches to the DBS 1 versus 1 against Nexus. Nexus again, he spots him. Oh, that's a beautiful touch. He tries to send him back into the lobby, and the DBS is going to do the trick. Oh my days, Your Might just too OP. First Arctics.
Oh my god. That montage is going to look absolutely outstanding as your boy Your Might goes in, gets not 1 but 2 but 3 knocks, and gets the boys right there from O3 eliminated in the game. Well, you can say he had some support from the boys from Val, but regardless, that was an outstanding work. You can see them now continuing that onslaught onto the boys right there from Valhalla as they do send Xenox down. The boys right there from First Arctics are not having any of that as they continue the onslaught right there, looking to take out the big boys. They took out the O3. They waited until the right moment to do that, and right now they turn the sights onto Valhalla.
Ooh, Valhalla, they did hear their guns, ring out when they were in the engagement with O3, so they were aware of their position. The guys from Valhalla Esports, they did manage to squeeze out 1 elimination from that engagement. Sigma is going to be spotted again. Your Might again with the sprays. Beautiful spray. He might just drop him if he's not careful enough to escape from that scenario. But I'm loving the plays from Your Might there. He's absolutely fantastic. The guys from First Arctics trying to push through, trying to get a spot inside of the play zone as Sigma turns tails and tries to find a place, inside of the play zone. Beast is using the rock there just to shield in his foot. Fire. He shot his foot all the way from there. He shot at his foot. Is your spray that good, Fire? Is your spray that
No, not that good. Not that good. Except when I'm using iPad. But it's not that good. It's not that good. Even with the iPad. All right. So great stuff coming in from Your Might right there. The boys right there from First Actis have lost 1 player. They've got to be careful going up against the boys right there from First Actis. But you can see Your Might is a 1-man army, 1-man soldier. He's seeing the shots coming in from more than 2 players, from 007 and Sigma, but he's still going on. He's still taking on them shots. He does not care. But right now, I do believe that he does need the support of his teammates because he's drawing in the fire, right? So he does need the support of his teammates to go in a flank position. There's someone behind him, and you can see Xenos coming in from behind has now taken down Your Might. Your Might coming in from another angle, and that is what you want to do if you want to be able to take out a player right there who is on full force like Your Might.
It is unfortunate, that his teammates did not get the memo. While he was taking those fights, trying to knock those players, his teammates could have made the rotation all the way to the right-hand side and gotten a couple of shots in. But now they've been spotted even. They are now on safe. Beast is going to send some shots towards that direction, and that might just be spell curtains for the guys from First Arctics. They've been spotted. They do not have the element of surprise anymore. Valhalla Esports, one of the teams, that we're looking forward to see them climb up that leaderboard, and now they're doing the things. They're doing what they need to do. Rack and Bone and Ranex, the last two are for the guys from First Arctics, but Wolf does go down. One Nation finally getting a taste of violence right here. Usually they're on the receiving end, but now they're sending a couple of shots towards the guys from Men of Blood. Wolf is going to be spotted and dropped down immediately there, but then the guys from One Nation are still in serious trouble. Eliminations coming through. Marvel is not safe. The backhand side might just be, the position that the rest of these teams might send them back into the lobby with.
Oh, Men of Blood's trying to keep themselves alive in this game. They've got themselves 3 kills so far. You can see the boys right there from Afro Esports rocking 6 kills in this particular game, looking to get themselves into a good spot within this game. So far, we got about 7 teams left in the lobby. And it is the boys from Extreme who are sitting down with 8 kills so far in this game, followed by Afro Esports with 6 kills. Both of these teams have still got a full squad. The other team who's got a full squad is boys from Val, who we saw take out the boys right there from, or a player right there from First Arctics earlier on, and at least one of the players from O3. The Men of Blood are currently sitting now with another full squad. They've got 3 kills to themselves. Well, Free Esports is just being really silent and quiet in this game. But let's see how it goes down between what I do believe is the last player from First Arctics up against another player right there from Val.
Oh, that's a beautiful play from Ranex there. He shoots him, steals his vehicle, and then jackpass. Now that is the Nigerian style. That is the Nigerian style. This is definitely the West African Pro League for sure, because only in West African Pro League will you eliminate a player, steal his vehicle, and turn it into GTA. Fantastic stuff from the guys from First Arctics. Another elimination for them. They are now up to 5, and they still have 1 body surviving them, and that is going to be Ranex. But then, Vibe Gaming have been caught off guard again. Bougie, is holding the bridge right there. He's got Ops to his left, Ops to his right, and Ops north of his position. Afro Esports making their way onto the bridge. They might just be deciding, to make these rotations towards this area. But the guys from Men of Blood, they are aware, that one of the players from Vibe is there. They might just send a couple of shots in his direction. Afro Esports have pulled up to the scene. They've caught Wolf unawares. They've caught him off guard, and you can see the bullets starting to ring outside. You can see Bougie is going to make it inside of the water. I don't know if Rage's idea is to chase him until he breathes and then eliminate him. That's going to be interesting to watch. I don't know what the plan is, but I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to pan out.
All right, we'll see how that one continues to pan out. Speaking of that, the boys from Afro Esports are still rocking a full squad in this game, right next to the boys from Free Esports. And we might see a fight coming down between the two of them as they look to battle it out for who is going to be grabbing home that winner chicken dinner. The boys from Vibe Gaming just trying as much as possible to cross over to the other end. And Free Esports definitely will be spotting several different players around them. And the boys from MOB and Vibe Gaming are pretty much what you would classify as just free food underneath that bridge for the boys right there from Free Esports.
Ooh, yeah, free chow for Free Esports. I mean, you love to see that. That is what I love to see. Hawkeye is sending bullet after bullet inside of the water there, trying to catch one of the guys from, from Men of Blood, and he succeeds. That's a beautiful touch with the AKM. The recoil is not the best, but it gets the job done, and he's trying to, deal damage towards the last couple of players for the guys from Men of Blood, and now that is a better couple of shots sent towards Cycle there, and Cycle is just trying his best to find a way inside of the play zone. The guys from Vibe are being cut down one player at a time, being dealt damage every single corner from Afro Esports, from the guys from Free Esports as well. Free Esports, one of those teams that actually needs, they need this game so much. They are still dwindling in that bottom corner. They're dwindling. They're still hanging around, the bottom set of 8 teams. So they do need this game. They need to do a fantastic job here just to catapult themselves to at least the midpoint of the leaderboard.
Yeah, we'll see how that one continues to play out as they continue to boost themselves up on the leaderboard. Extreme currently rocking 9 kills in this one, Priest. As they continue to boost themselves up. They're one of those teams who weren't doing quite well. But right now, turning our sights onto the boys from Afro Esports, who were hot on their heels against the boys right there from Free Esport. Free Esports was pretty much on the jackpot mode, trying as much as possible to get themselves into a good spot. But the boys from Afro were having none of that. As they were like, get back here, get back here. We need your kills to come in for that sacrifice. As it's down to this Jackaban and Rumsey to keep themselves alive in this game.
Well, I did love the play from the guys from Free Esports. They did not give 100%. You know, they didn't commit all of their players. They just committed to that engagement and then committed the rest. But now the guys from Afro Esports might just be the nail in the coffin. They might just chase right through. Peachy might be spotted, and now is the time for them to eliminate him. All they have to do is find an angle. But then I think they are going to hold this little bit of a mound here and play from the terrain. Another terrain team, you know, Afro Esports, they're known for playing terrain as well. You know, just like the guys from Team Apex and O3 Brothers. So now, you know, they are going to try to hold this one, but now that's a beautiful spray from Jagaban. He drops OJ, and that's a fantastic one, you know, from the guy from Free Esports. Now Afro Esports need to find a way inside of the next zone. They do not have you know, an entry just yet, and the play zone already starting to squeeze outside. 25 seconds, you know, and counting, trying to, you know, keep these teams at bay. Valhalla Esports catching one of the guys from catching 2 of the guys from Extreme Vawlence, and it's looking like it's an unlikely scenario for them, you know. Here 2 players down, and it looks like this might just spell the end for Extreme. They've had a fantastic run so far, but this might just be the end.
Ooh, right there, the boys from Valhalla walking through fire, trying as much as possible to take out the boys from Extreme. And you can see that DBS putting in the damage right there, and it's all down to Sean X, but he does get taken down as the Valhalla looks to get themselves a whole lot more points. They're currently in down with 7 kills to their name, but they're getting heat up by the boys from MOB. They're able to send MOB out of the game, so they'll be looking to get those revives quite quickly as possible, move their player into the zone, as you can see. But Afro Esports as well, who have grabbed themselves a whole lot of points in this particular game, will be looking to perform quite well and grab that winner chicken dinner. They're sitting down with 11 kills so far. Vibe Gaming is down to the last guy. They've just got pushy, but they've got the zone. We'll see if they can grab themselves some extra kill points in this one. But it's pretty much Afro Esports versus Valhalla in this one, who are currently sitting down with a 2-man squad. Do you think it's done and dusted, Priest, for the boys from Afro, or does Pushy from Vibe Gaming and the 2 players from Valhalla still have something to say about this one?
Well, the play zone is not looking like it's going to be sweet for them, and I spoke about that already. You can see Beast is going to be spotted, but Bougie does manage to squeeze them back into the lobby, and it is going to be a 4 versus 1. Peachy is going to be spotted and dropped by Bougie there. That's a beautiful spray, but I don't think it's going to be enough. They might just be spotting him, and yes, they are going to send him back into the lobby. Afro Esports.
Absolutely amazing stuff coming in right there from Afro Esports. One of the teams that we have been expecting to see them come in and perform quite well in this game so far. Getting themselves 12 eliminations in that particular game and the winner chicken dinner. You do expect to see Afro Esports perform quite well because they're one of those teams who has been, you know, on the top positions in Nigerian competitions and even in the Mzansi. But coming on right here in the WAPL, they're finally beginning to get those performances that we do expect to see from them, grabbing themselves at least 22 points in this one, putting the boys from 21st Century hot on their tails. So yeah, it's great to see.
Yeah, definitely great to see. You know, they started off very, very strong, eliminating the Citizens in boot camp. You know, and after that, you know, it was really just uphill from there. You know, they had a plan, they executed that plan, they knew how they wanted to make rotations. You can see they lost absolutely not a single player. It is so difficult at this stage to be able to have a full team towards from the beginning of the game. You know, getting to an early engagement, still finding a way to rotate around the maps and clear, you know, teams as you go by. The way they played the guys from Free Esports, you know, it was so precise. It was so straightforward. They had a plan. They executed it. Free Esports as well. They did a very very good job of holding on. But then they didn't get the expected number of eliminations. I mean, as you can see, Peachy once again is that player. He is the one that dealt so much damage in respect to his eliminations. You can tell, he was so valuable to the guys from Afro in this game. I mean, 6 eliminations, and 4 assists. That is to tell you that yes, he was doing a fantastic job for the team.
A lovely one coming in right there for Peachy, put it in the eliminations. There's also his teammates Hunter and Neo, who provided a lot of support right there in that particular game, getting 6 kills to themselves as well. But we would not leave out the boys from Vibe Gaming, who managed to grab themselves 6 kills and get that 2nd spot, as well as the boys from Valhalla, who got 8 kills in that 3rd position. So we'll see what that means on the overall leaderboard when it gets shown later on, and see where the teams have been able to boost themselves up onto.
Yeah, Afro Esports, you can see the disparity in the damage points there. It is so significant, But then it is also equally impressive, that some damage and elimination points did go around the block. You've got 9, you've got 8, you've got 6, you've got 5, a couple of 4s spinning through them, or 3 or 2, and then 1 or across the board. So you can see that a whole lot of these teams got into some serious eliminations. But you can see the guys from 21st Century, getting called out and eliminated right very early when they did run into the guys from 03, and 03 just showed them who's boss, And then Most Wanted as well, going to an engagement, and it just didn't pan out for them. They did get called out, they did get sent back into the lobby, and but unfortunately for them, it was way too early, and the points were just not enough.
Oh, absolutely. Going head to head, it is the boys from Valhalla sitting down with 8 kills up against Afro Esports. And you can see right there between these two teams that were absolutely aggressive throughout the entire game. We saw Valhalla take out the boys from First Artics, who were wild against 03 brothers. So it was just violence upon violence at every single point in time. But moving on now, I do believe we should be seeing the leaderboard of the previous game and see where the several different teams found themselves.
Valhalla did have beautiful teamwork. It was all about teamwork for them. I was not really appreciative of how they went out, to the last player from Vibe. They did get caught slipping there. They gave away their position, but it's an unfortunate scenario for them. But then again, to the guys from Afro Esports, they did not necessarily have, the same panache as Afro Esports, because they did lose a player, they did lose someone, and they somehow managed to survive, up until the point they did survive. So some fantastic points, did go to the guys from Valhalla Esports.
All right, so taking a look at the overall ranking, it is the boys from Afro Esports who now find themselves on top of the leaderboard today, sitting down with 29 points right next to the boys from 21st Century, who did not get themselves quite any point in that previous game, as they got taken out by the 03 brothers before they could get into the mix of the action. There's still Vibe Gaming, who have still been pushing up points on that leaderboard and been able to get themselves 17 points. All the way behind them is the boys from Extreme, who got a whole bunch of kills in the last game and are now sitting down with 13 points, and 15 points, and Valhalla, who now has 13 points.
Yeah, fantastic play, coming in from Valhalla Esports, getting themselves double digits finally. If you're not having double digits, after these 2 games, you need to work harder. And I'm talking about the guys from Free Esports, Harsh, Men of Blood, Sidizens, even the 03 brothers. They've not, started the day on the best of footings, So they do need to do more. They do need to get more numbers. They do need to increase their performances. It's 2 games down already. We're heading to Vikendi very shortly, and all of these teams, they do need to do fantastic. They do need to get at least 30 points to put out the game right there. But then Vikendi is going to tell us a different story once we return from this break. What's up, y'all? Yes. This is still welcome back to the West African Pro League first edition. It is the Junior League Day 4, and it is your boy Priest. I am still out here giving you guys these vibes with my main man, Fire.
Yeah, absolutely amazing stuff that we've seen so far within the lobby. We saw 21st Century get a whole lot of points in the first game, and the second game went to the boys from Afro Esports. All of these guys are really putting in the work for who is going to be taking home these games at the end of the day. Now we're going into a Vikendi game where we know things are usually very tight. The zone is always moving from one corner to the next, so it's all down to very slim margins on who is going to grab this game through.
You know, so many of these teams, they've not necessarily perfected their Vikendi just yet, and to throw them in there, it's going to be so hectic. Afro Esports is one of those teams that are not necessarily the strongest team in Vikendi, but then again, they are a very, very strong area or positional team. They know how to play from an area. They know how to defend positions. They know how to play, using terrain to their advantage. But then again, we talk about Vikendi having a whole lot of buildings, a whole lot of playing positions, to work with, and it's really all about the strategy that all these teams are going to employ to get the best performance possible. The guys from Solo Esports, I am still looking forward to them. I'm still looking for more. And Diags is not playing today, so and that is one of their best players. Even Wizard isn't here, so I'm thinking this is a brand new roster that the guys from Solo Esports are going to be working with. Milnar, the playing path is not favorable for most of these teams that do like to land in that eastern part of the circle. But Vikendi zone is so crazy, Fire. I mean, we saw it yesterday, we saw it the day before. Vikendi zones are so hectic.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always taking you from one corner to the next. The playing part can be, like we've seen right now, all the way from that southwestern region to that northwest, and then just move absolutely in ways that will not be favorable to a lot of teams. But this one does seem quite okay for now. I mean, teams who land around Zabava, Coal Mine, Mount Kresnik can still find themselves within that zone. So I'll say this one's not too bad.
Yeah, most of these teams, they are very, very they're very, I would say, very defensive, when it comes to the Vikendi map, because not a lot of information, not a lot of consistent plays, in all of their practice. Most of these teams don't even play Vikendi, when they're practicing. So they need to learn, based off the specifics of this particular tournament. They need to adapt. They need to be better. They need to be stronger. They need to be ready to take these engagements, provided that teams land in the same position as them. And it looks like the guys from Vibe are going to be kneeling and sending some damage towards the guys from First Artics, but then they need to be careful. The bullets already starting to sing. I can hear the shots ringing outside. Kenny is trying to be squeezed out there. They do have a couple of teams behind them and in front of them. It looks like Vibe Gaming is on the back end right here. Bad Boy Teams is left of that position trying to get upstairs, but Kenny is trying to lead the charge, trying to coordinate. You can tell from his movement, he's the one trying to coordinate the engagement. Rag and Bone is not of that position. I believe some bullets just came inside of this little warehouse there, and this might just be dangerous for the guys from Vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking about dangerous on the guys from Vibe, they'll be looking to grab themselves some extra points, but turning our sides onto the boys right there on the kill feed from Sidizens Gaming. They are going onto a battle against the boys from Extreme. We're seeing several different skirmishes at different corners, while Vibe Gaming is currently holding their own. They're putting the work right there onto the boys from First Artics by sending on them grenades. It is the boy Bougie who was actually making that move. You can see them just inching closer and closer onto the boys right there from First Actors, but El Chapo is trying as much as possible to see if he can get that one knock that actually does pull them back and stop them on their tracks.
Yeah, you can see the guys from Vibe are biding their time. They're planning their attack. But then again, this is First Arctics. You do not want to get caught out. You do not want to be dropped, by your might there, because we saw him. We saw what he was capable of. We know that your might is very, very dangerous. They need to be careful of that position that he's holding. The moment that one of them gets knocked, I know for a fact they are going to take that engagement. But Skies is going to be spotted, I believe, by the guys from Vibe. They do pull out, from behind. They do spot him and they send some shots his way, but he is going to get out of dodge. You know, the guys from First Arctic. But unfortunately, Bougie is going to be the first one to go down. Now, this might just be the opportunity for the guys from Vibe to get the engagement because he's all alone. He is a solo player. He did play around to get, you know, that off angle, that free man roll, the person that gets the first, you know, knock from outside. But Iceman is going to return the favor, and finally, Skies cannot escape the Molotov, and the confirmation is going to come to him this time around. But before he's confirmed, Ragenbone is there to drop Kenny.
Ooh, and the boys from First Artics are not holding back in this particular one as they keep on putting the onslaught onto Vibe Gaming. It does look like Iceman might be able to get that revive onto Kenny just before the boys from First Artics can continue to make the move onto them. And you can see First Artics in a position where they're a bit more defensive than actually making their move. But the nade goes into Kenny again. It gets a knock, and this time around, First Artics does make the move to get that confirmation. And there's El Chapo, the boy El Chapo, who goes in right there and gets them at their jugular. So First Arctics making the move right here. They still got a full squad. They've got 2 confirmations, and will Vibe Gaming just pull away from this particular one, take their losses, take their L's, or still look to see if they can get the confirmations?
It is an unfortunate way, but you know, I did talk about it. You know, you gotta execute your plans right out the gate, man. If your plan is taking too long to execute, get away. You know, if you're trying to take an engagement against another team, you know that's a 4v4. At least, you know, that's the basic, you know, most basic information. When you get into an engagement with another team, okay, first things first is how many players could these possibly be? Okay, this is a 4v4. Okay, we've got 2 knocks, we've got 1 knock. Okay, this side, somebody has been knocked down, you know, this person can't be saved, you know. What is the next thing to do? You know, if your plan to eliminate another team is taking too long to execute, you have to get out of dodge. You're not ready. You know, you're not ready. You have to be absolutely ready. And speaking of ready, the guys from Free Esports, it looks like they've been catching the O3 brothers there, and it looks like, you know, it's an interesting scenario. Extremists now pulling up to the scene. They might just decide to take this engagement against the guys from First Arctics. Extremists is bottom of the leaderboard right now. They do need this more than the guys from First Arctics, so they do need to keep that energy. They need to be very, very strong. They need to be very, very capable. Wolf is going to pull up to the scene, but that's what happens when you pull up without any information. Wolf is going to be peppered right here because the bodies are too much. It's 2 players. He's going on 1 versus 2, but then the rest of his teammate pulls up to the scene. Coxo gets the first and the second. First Arctics in trouble. 2 bodies to the ground, and now Extremists, they might just be doing the trick right here. Zombie is going to be knocked down, but then again, the return fire from Wolf is almost instantaneous, and now the guys from First Arctics are in trouble. Beautiful play from the guys from Extremists. You have to love it.
Man, absolutely. A standing gameplay coming in from the boys from Extremist right there, taking out a couple of players from First Arctics. First Arctics now looking to see if they can get some revenge. You can see that nade coming in from Ranix, about to do some damage right there, and he is gunning to see if he can take out a couple of players. He's looking for that angle onto Dolus and Zombie, and will this be it? Will he be able to get the knocks? Doesn't look like he's able to connect right there, so he's continuing on with the rotation to see if he can get a great angle, but he's got to be careful. There's also one of the players from Extremist who has got pretty much that same idea and might be looking to take him out from the side.
Oh, Coxo just pulls up to the scene. The 1v1 is fantastic, and that is going to spell the end for the guys from First Arctics. Now, that is what you love to see. Extremists now finally putting some points on the board. The last place team, they called the guys from First Arctics and send them back into the lobby, and Vibe is still going to survive. Imagine that. Imagine getting called out. Imagine, you know, getting eliminated, you know, losing 2 players from a team, and just watch the feed and saw that team that eliminate 2 of your players just get eliminated. That is the violence. That is the West African Pro League. That is what we love to see. We saw the guys from First Arctics take 2 players from the guys from Vibe, Kenny and Iceman, send them back into the lobby, and within that same couple of minutes, you know, they did get sent back into the lobby by Extremists, the team that's at the bottom of the leaderboard, the team that needs this. They need to be there. They need to be ready. Men of Blood as well already lost 2 players, and I don't know, you know, what is the plan when you lose 2 players? You know, what is the plan, Fire? What do you do when you just lose 2 players right out in the phase 1 of the circle? What is the plan if that happens to you?
I think it depends on what stage you are in the game when you lose 2 players. If you're still in like stage 1 and you lose those 2 players, I think definitely the plan should be get yourself into that top 5, because what you then tend to see is that everyone has been done damage by the time you get into stage 4, stage 5. So most of the teams you're coming up against have just 2 or 3 man squads. So it doesn't really count at that point. But in the beginning, when you have a 2-man squad, most likely if you get into fights, you're fighting 2 versus 4. So hold off as long as possible and just get into those late fights when you have a 2-man squad.
Well, I mean, I am going to write all of that down so that I can apply it and be playing as a 2-man squad, in games. So now I know the tricks of the trade. Men of Blood, they've been struggling today, though. Men of Blood have been struggling today. I mean, I saw that they did get bodied in Eranjo by 21st Century. They did have a good position. All they had to do was, maintain. They had the numbers advantage, but unfortunately, 6 Ben was just better. And again, we can see Free Esports with 4 eliminations to them. They've already sacrificed 2 players to get those 4 eliminations, but those, a win is a win, points are points. Solo Esports in serious danger here between them and Active Gaming, but I think they are going to play defensive. Skinny is going to be riding this motor sled. I don't know what vehicle is supposed to be, but they are going to pull up to the corner there, and now Floyd is going to hold the high ground. He spots the grenade. He's already starting to cook. He spots it again. He tries it, but that's a big, fantastic grenade coming in from the guys from Active. But the return grenade is going to be even better from Solo Esports. But now that's a beautiful one from Sleepless. Then Floyd is down to the ground, and now Solo Esports are down to 2 players. Active Gaming might just use the opportunity right now. Mighty is still bleeding out, and the rest of the players from the guys from Solo Samurais tries to use the DBS, but no. Surge, the top G, is just better. And now 1 player left, Doctor. But no, before I could say Jack Sparrow, that dude has been sent back into the lobby.
Active Gaming putting in the work right there, making a push onto the boys from Solo Esports, and that sometimes is heartbreaking to watch, obviously, because the boys from Solo Esports are that squad that we've been talking about. We want to see them move up on the leaderboard. We know what they're capable of. They're Senegalese team that's absolutely OP, but they could not just find their stride in this particular game as they came up against another team that does need those points, not being able to perform quite well today. Active Gaming, we saw them do quite well in the first day so far, but they've not got it into the reading. Maybe, just maybe, Pris, this might be the game that now gives them that confidence to go on and maybe get a whole bunch of points in this game.
Yeah, it's all about the confidence boosting, Peach's grenades are always spot on. That's a beautiful grenade onto bad boy teams. And then Afro again, once again, starting to deal damage, starting to wreak havoc to each of these teams. Another grenade cooking from Hunter, but he tries it again. That's a beautiful one to come through from Bougie there, but it's not going to do the trick. And now one of the players has found a way to crawl inside of this building. You can see Bougie there, he's just chilling. He's trying to find somewhere to call home, but no, the grenade is starting to come outside, one grenade after another, but he is going to be roasted alive like corn on the cob, and that is going to be the end of the guys from Vibe Gaming. 2 eliminations to Afro Esports.
Afro Esports continuing on with the cooking in this game as they do get themselves a whole bunch of kills right there, or a couple of kills right there in that one, as they do grab 2 kills so far. So sitting down in this game, we've seen a lot of activity going down between all of these teams, as we do have the boys from Active Gaming sitting down with 4 kills, as well as Sidizens with 4 kills and still having a full squad to call their own. The boys from Extremist are sitting down with 3 kills so far, as well as Afro Esports with 2 kills. So there's a bunch of teams who still got a full squad to their name, but Men of Blood are sitting down with 2 players, Free Esports with 2 as well. There are a couple of teams who have been sent back into the lobby, as the boys from O3, Vibe Gaming, Extreme, First Artics, and Solo Esports have currently been sent back in. We're down to 39 bodies so far as we are moving on to our stage 3 of the map.
I am loving the plays coming in from these teams, but now the play zone is shrinking ever so tightly, trying to squeeze these teams against each other. You can see, the play style they're coming in from most of these teams. They are in a centered position. There's bodies everywhere. Citizens, Most Wanted, 21st Century, even Free Esports. All of these teams have centered themselves up inside of the circle. It's like they know something. It's like they know that, okay, there's a particular style of play that they want to adapt. They know for a fact, okay, Vikendi is this way, the plan is this way, but the bullet started to ring outside again from Most Wanted, going to drop Gordier, but grenade from Jetto might just connect to one of the guys from 21st Century. They need to be at bay. They need to keep the guys from 21st Century off their backs, and they need to be careful. They are in between 2 teams. Grenade still ringing out from Jetto there. there. Might just do the trick to Baby, but Baby is going to hop out of dodge, and Gordier is going to get revived surely by Bego right there. But now the Citizens need to get out of this position. They are going to be squeezed out very, very soon if they do not make an engagement, if they do not make something happen. Fortunately for them, they have downhill, they have uphill. All they have to do is pick a struggle.
Yeah, definitely. If I was in their position, I will be either trying to take out one fight, not as many as possible. I do feel like the boys from Citizens should be moving away from this one, as there's so many different teams around them. Up on that hill, you got the boys from 21st Century, and that's exactly what they're doing, because obviously Citizens has a wonderful IGL, so they know that they should be moving out of situations where you're pretty much clustered around you with the boys from Most Wanted down on their hill, and also the boys from Free Esports lurking around.
Yeah, you can see the play style coming in from most of these teams. Even talking about Free Esports, Free Esports are down to a two-man team, but they already have 4 eliminations to boot. So all they have to do is just to survive, just to tap it longer for their points to actually have, significant value. Most Wanted haven't got any eliminations yet. That's why their bodies are itching. That's why they're shooting left, right, and center. But they don't know that they're shooting at 21st Century. The Citizens have actually moved out of dodge and found somewhere else to call home for the time being. But now it is very interesting, because this is the center of the circle. This is literally the center. All of these teams are in the center. It's like, there's a different type of strategy that applies to Vikendi. All of these teams are trying to get into the center of the circle at phase 3. You don't see this in Sanok. You don't see this in Aranju. And I'm definitely sure you don't see this in Miramar. Most of these teams, they love to hang by the edges, and just play it as slow as possible. But now you can see teams, like 5 teams in the center of the circle. Do you think it is because of the map fire? Do you think it's the map that is forcing them to play this way?
I mean, you do know that Vikendi there's a lot of buildings to work with, so it allows a lot of teams be a bit more defensive than other maps. So yes, I do think it is the map, because it provides a lot of cover to work with. Unlike other maps, maybe Erangel, by this stage there certainly will be less space. So as we continue to progress into even the 5th stage, we're still going to see teams hold on very defensive positions, and guys like Most Wanted, Citizens will have to make their push purposely onto those locations if they will be looking to take out teams around them. And I do think that may be a good thing.
Yes, that has to be a good thing for sure, because, I want to see these teams get into engagements and, perfect the ability to hold positions, perfect the ability to, be super defensive when it comes to holding positions. We saw the guys from Team Apex yesterday in Vikendi. They managed to even out 19 eliminations, because they played terrain. They didn't play compounds. They played terrain. They played the areas, just like the guys from Afro Esports are doing right now. But then, around this time of the game, the guys from Apex were already up at least 9 to 10 eliminations around this time in the game. Around phase 3, they already dropped a couple of bodies, and they already had a plan, to execute the rest of these teams one after the other. But now these other teams, they are hanging inside of compounds, inside of buildings. The guys from Most Wanted, he knows that Hawkeye is right inside there. He knows it is one person. He knows that for a fact. He knows that they can overwhelm them, take that building, and then have a split, across the board. But that's not the play. They do want to hold one position just for the longest time possible. I mean, it is still a strategy, but, if you're trying to get points for yourself, especially if you're Most Wanted, you need to do better. You need to do more.
Yeah, absolutely. They do need to do more in this one. But speaking about doing more, we do see the boys from 21st Century up on this hill, trying as much as possible to get that one knock onto the boys from Harsh. They're looking and lurking around for those kills. You spoke about it earlier on. Apex yesterday having a strategy where they were, just taking out, those open spaces, not really working with the builders and looking for kills around them, searching for where they can get out those 1-2 knocks and actually then push onto the team. So maybe that might be the strategy for 21 so far, but they've not just been able to find that one entry knock to make their push onto the team.
Most of these teams, they heavily rely on the open knock strategy, get the first knock and then, push the teams by playing off the angles, wait for the revive and then, overwhelm them. It is a classic play style. It works at least 9 times out of 10, but then it has to be a very, very strong team that's going to be able to pull it off, to do those numbers. 21st Century is one of those teams that use the open knock strategy. If they knock a team, they're definitely definitely going to take the engagement. But then this is another team, that plays terrain as well. They are playing the terrain. They're not in any compounds. They're not in any buildings. They want to be outside. They want to be able to see the ops when they drive by, and they are ready to play. But then they are by the edge of the circle. The play zone has shifted. It's giving us a little bit of an idea. And most of the teams, that are in the center, they are now by the edge of the circle. So they do need to get those engagements. They do need to squeeze those teams behind. Active Gaming are by the edge of the circle. They do not have play zone. You can see Sleepless, north of that position, just swinging down below. You can see them driving around there, trying to gather intel. They know that 21st Century is here. Baby sent some shots that way just to scare them off. And now, how long do you think this is going to last?
With some Active Gaming trying as much as possible to put in the work right there against 21st Century. You can see 21st Century continuing the onslaught right there as they do take down Skinny from this game. We're curious to see if they can get that revive just in time, but Baby is trying to send in that nade onto that position. If it does connect, Skinny will be sent out of this game as 21st Century is now looking to make their push. Sleepless and the rest of the boys right there from Active Gaming are now looking as much as possible to defend this particular position, but Baby's not having any of that. He's still making his push. He's still trying as much as possible to get that knock, and Anez win is in some danger as that nade coming in from Baby might be able to put in some damage. It does take about 50% of his HP, and right now the boys from Active Gaming are on the back foot right there.
It's an unfortunate scenario here because we talked about this 21st Century, the open knock style, the open knock system is just beautiful. The way they love to use it, they got that first knock and they started to push in. They started to squeeze the guys from Active Gaming, sending Sleepless and Skinny back into the lobby with a beautiful use of utilities there. And now you can see the guys from One Nation being called out by Afro Esports, and again you can see Sixben just driving around, just hanging around. Just all on the backside. There's Top G is going to be pulling up to that scenario, pulling up to that scene, but Ness is just hanging on for dear life. He tries the left, he tries the right. Quexar still on top of him, still holding that position. The guys from 21st Century, you can tell they do not want to come down, but then the fact that they do not want to come down is going to be very, very hectic as Top G is there to drop Quexar down to his knees. It's so quick. It is so quick. You have to be decisive. But now, look, just take a look here. At this moment right here, now is the opportunity for the guys from Active to get out of dodge. 21st Century have been distracted. Now is the time to make the play.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be making those kind of plays when you've just gotten the knock. We can also see the boys right there from Afro Esports with the help of the play zone getting sent back into the lobby. Situations like that are absolutely heartbreaking. Sometimes you want to make sure that you're getting into the zone as quickly as possible. The boys from Active will want to be doing that too as well to themselves. As to the first Century, we're speaking about the play zone just now. Got one, I do believe one of the players currently knocked down. He hasn't been confirmed yet, but he's got to pull out of that fight and just get into that zone. As you can see, several different teams are already making that move as well.
I am loving the plays coming in from these teams so far, though. The eliminations are going around. You've got 4 teams that have 4 eliminations to boot already. So that is very, very good. The points are spreading through. The points are going around. But then, Most Wanted has to be one of those teams. They need better. They need to do better. They need to increase, the points. It's just an unfortunate scenario here that I have a full, complete set of players, but they've not been able to do anything with it. Wandu finally spotted by the guy from Valhalla once again. Valhalla starting to do the job, starting to work as a team to get those eliminations. Most Wanted might just be losing their first player. I was just talking about their ability, but then they return fire is fantastic to 007. He is going to be sent back, packing, and now the confirmation might just ring right through. Men of Blood, the scene pulls up first. Free Esports are the victims. Hawkeye, they did get caught out by the Citizens from the south hand side, and it is unfortunate for them. It's unfortunate.
Man, absolutely amazing stuff coming in right there for the boys from Men of Blood as they do get themselves a couple of kills right there as they send out the boys from Free Esports, who have been another aggressive team in this particular lobby. We did see them go up against the boys from O3, and now we also see the boys from 21st Century getting sent out of the game. Another team that has been putting in the work in this particular game. So Citizens going to sit now with 4 kills, and they've still got a full squad in this one. You also got another team with a full squad, the boys from Extremist and Valhalla. These are the teams that are looking like they do have the numbers to go on and continue to grab those kills. But Harsh Esports are sitting down with a 3-man squad. They've got a position within that zone, as well as the boys of Extremists who are now trying to get into a good spot within that zone. Valhalla sitting down with a full squad. They've got an edge of this one. They can use that to their advantage and take out several different teams around them. Who is going to be grabbing home this winner with a chicken dinner as we're down to 7 teams right here in this one, Priest?
Yeah, 22 bodies in the circle right here. You know, the play zone is starting to play around with these teams, swaying from left to right, you know, from north to south, and they have to be very, very careful. They do not get shifted out too far away that they will not, you know, be able to make it inside of the play zone. You know, the guys from Extremist, finally, they're starting to get some points today. You know, I think they're starting to find their feet. I believe they have 4 eliminations already to boot, and they do have a complete team. You know, there's only 3 teams here that are complete: the Extremists, Valhalla, and the Sidizens. These are the 3 teams that are complete. But Harsh Esports pull up to the scenes from Active Gaming, and Nez just hops right down. He tries again from the right hand side. He is going to take the 1v1. Oh, that's a beautiful, beautiful play from Nez. You have to love it. That's a CQC merchant right there. Gets the knock and gets the confirmation to Amar, sends him back into the lobby. And again, the defensive capabilities of Active Gaming, here it comes again into play. They managed to keep this compound to themselves, Fire. I love to see it.
And Active Gaming getting a whole bunch of kills as the boys from Harsh pull up onto their location. They quickly make quick work of that one, and they take down a couple of the players right there from Harsh. Harsh now down to 1 player. They were sitting down with a 4-man squad just before they pushed up onto the boys right there from Active Gaming. But that was probably not the best of moves. When you're pushing a team, you got to be a little bit more decisive with your entire squad. If that last man from Harsh was unseen with Anes, maybe he might have been able to provide some support for his teammate, but it was not to be, as the boys from Active Gaming have now gotten themselves 6 kills in this one. They're a 2-man squad, but they will still be vying for that top spot in this particular game.
You know, yeah, you know, and I did talk about, you know, Active Gaming's ability to play Vikendi, you know, play that positional advantage, play that defensive position. You know, we saw this happen in the first, you know, couple of days. You know, when I saw them play, they had 1 player, I believe it was still a Ness, you know, that survived towards the end and got Active Gaming a 2nd place finish. You know, so that was a fantastic game. So I knew for a fact, you know, Active Gaming very, very strong in Vikendi. You know, you have to be on the lookout, you have to be ready for them. The guys from Extreme is dealing damage towards the guys from the Citizens, one body after the next. Most Wanted now catching their sights on towards the guys from Valhalla. The bullet starting to continue all the way towards that position. The Citizens unfortunately getting stuck between so many teams. They've already lost 1 player and they got 2 knocked. This might just spell the end. But Most Wanted trying to keep the guys from Valhalla at bay. They do have the play zone, so Valhalla do not necessarily need to overextend. Xenos is holding the top position there. He's just waiting for Fatboy to peek inside, and he might just decide to drop in, but the utility is already coming outside. Fatboy using them to his advantage, but the grenade is already coming inside as well. Xenos finally spots him using the high ground. That's the advantage, and he is going to send him back into the lobby. Jetto, the next one to go down to Most Wanted. Citizens finding it a very, very tough time to get inside the play zone.
You know, Most Wanted, I do believe this is the Most Wanted from Zanzibar, right? This is one of the teams that is, you know, a very strong and capable team. You know, we've seen them in many competitions, battled it up against the best of the best in the entire African region. You know, coming in right now, they've shown us glimpses of what they're capable of. Just like Solo, they've not been able to pick up their stride and just, you know, dominate the lobby. But it's good to see them move all the way up into that top 6 position within this particular one. Lilies is having none of that. As it's sending those nades, pretty much as making that copy move onto the boys from Citizen, but it is not enough right there to do the damage onto the boys from Citizen, as we are still down to 6 players. Look at this one right here, Priest, with us having that stage 7. All of this team still looking to get themselves into good spots.
It is so impressive, you know, how these teams still manage to get these eliminations and still manage to be inside of the play. So the top G is going to fall, he's going to be knocked out, and this might just spell the end for the guys from Active Gaming if, you know, Ness doesn't do something, you know, otherworldly very, very soon. Valhalla, once again, with a 4-man team, somehow they know how to survive. They know how to play as a team. I mean, take a look at the cover they have. Look at the positional advantage playing from the south-hand side. It is so evident. The vehicles, the plays, the airdrop, you know, the rocks, the trees, you know, it is fantastic watching the guys from Valhalla play. Jetto is going to go down again to the guys from Most Wanted. He's had his sights on him, he's had his eyes on him, and I believe that is going to be the end of the Citizens. They go out in 5th place, but they did manage to squeeze some eliminations through. Most Wanted still trying their best to do the damage, still trying their best to get the points, but all they have is 1 elimination, Fire, and this is what we're talking about, 1 elimination only.
Yeah, absolutely. That one elimination might turn into a whole bunch of kills. But we're now seeing Active Gaming going up against right there the boys from Men of Blood. And Ness takes down one. He might be able to take out the other guy, and he does it all on his own. Absolutely amazing stuff coming in from Anes right there, and is able to take the boys from Active Gaming all the way into that 3rd spot.
And that is the thing we love to see. I mean, that was absolutely fantastic from Andes, the CQC merchant. I told you, when I saw his engagement earlier, I told you that's the CQC merchant right there. Close quarters combat, they are so good. But Valhalla, it looks like they might just be doing 2 for 2. They might just be doing a fantastic game. But again, Lillis peeks outside. He is going to be dropped and locked immediately by the guys from Valhalla Esports. And again, Valhalla with another fantastic game, back-to-back fantastic performances from the guys from Valhalla Esports. And it tells you a story, Fire. What is the story?
Man, the Valhalla boys, have been knocking on the door of this winner chicken dinner for some time. They've been getting the eliminations. It just hasn't come. But finally, they have now been able to grab home that chicken. They have been able to roast, several different teams on that final circle, and it has paid off for them. They're getting themselves 17 points and being able to move up on that leaderboard. There's a lot to say. But that doesn't tell the whole story of the entire game, as so many different teams were fighting for that spot. They are the winners, but I do believe that we still have multiple winners in this game.
Yeah, I mean, a win is a win, especially if you have, over, at least 6 eliminations, all those teams that go at least 5 eliminations, 6 eliminations, 5 points, 6 points on the board. As we talk about this, points did go around the block. Everyone got some serious points, for their teams, and they did a fantastic job of keeping it 100 for the rest of the players. But then again, the guys from Valhalla, owing to their Sanok performance, it was absolutely brilliant to watch. They did very, very well. They got a top 3 finish, and some eliminations. I believe they got to 8 or 9 eliminations to boot, so that's a good one already. I saw them on the leaderboard. They were looking very, very strong. Now they've got a chicken dinner. Now they've got 7 eliminations, another one to boost, and that is the kind of performance I was expecting, from the guys from like Extreme Vawlence or Extremist. But then Extremists did impress. They did do a good job. They did, last longer. They did survive for the longest. But now, it's more. They need more. There's one game left. We're heading to Miramar. There's one game left. Who's gonna take it?
Man, it's all down to very slim margins, but I do think there are a couple of teams that will be looking to see if they can come back and perform quite well. All 3 brothers and Citizens haven't been able to get into the stride in the game so far today, but we do know that they are absolutely capable of storming the lobby, and we'll be probably seeing them coming back with a revenge in that Miramar game. We'll be curious to see what the total leaderboard is looking like right now, and I'm absolutely curious on who is in that top spot. But Citizens, though they did not finish and grab the winner with the chicken dinner, you just have to clap your hands for the amount of damage that they're able to do in every single lobby consistently.
Yeah, it's so impressive. We did see the MVP of the game was Jetto. He managed to squeeze in a whole lot of damage and a whole lot of eliminations. I mean, if you look at the stats right here, you wouldn't even know, who won the game between these two. It's so tight, it's so close. Citizens got about, a couple of eliminations and knocks that they didn't finish. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of Ikendi. Every engagement counts. You have to wrap it up. You have to claim your points as quick as you can. But the Citizens, they got thrown around by the play zone a lot, but Valhalla maintained, the play zone. They maintained the north. They held that area, and they played, a whole lot of teamwork games. I love, Valhalla's teamwork ability. I saw it in the Sanok game. Those guys know how to play as a team. They know how to play, advantageous positions. You can tell, the damage goes all around. It is still, pretty much balanced. I was expecting more numbers from Valhalla Esports, owing to the fact that they did have a complete team, but they didn't seek the eliminations. The eliminations came to them, because they were able to manage the play zone. Afro Esports was still hit there. Once again, Afro Esports is like they've appeared like 3 out of 3 times. They've been dealing damage left, right, and center to the rest of these teams.
Man, absolutely amazing stuff coming in from all of these teams. But Sidizens Gaming, Active Gaming, Valhalla, Afro Esports, putting in those damages in the lobby, even the boys from Extreme. And you can see all the way through down, even to the boys from Most Wanted and Free Esports, as well as Men of Blood. All of these teams were absolutely fighting in for that top spot. And you can see what that means on the overall leaderboard, with Afro Esports still holding a spot, but you can now see that guys like Vibe Gaming, Sidizens, Active Gaming have been able to boost themselves up on that leaderboard. We'll be curious to see if guys like Solo Esports and O3 Brothers can now build up on that performance and now also move themselves up, as we will probably be going into a break shortly.
Yeah, it's so beautiful to watch, how these teams have been able to manage, the rest of their play style and, to keep it, very interesting so far. But yes, Valhalla Esports, the Citizens finally climbing through, getting themselves double-digit numbers. All of those teams that haven't been able to, get the double-digit numbers, they are in trouble. O3 Brothers are in trouble. Most Wanted are in trouble as well. They need to do better. They need to be ready. They need to be strong. But we are going to be heading to Miramar very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. So catch us right after this break for the final game of day 4.
Make me frustrated. Things worse than usual. I can't relate the simple way you keep satisfied. Maybe in time we can learn to think codependently.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, West African Pro League, Junior League, Day 4. That is what we are here to see, and it is going to be the final game. We are going to be heading into Miramar. It is still your boy, Priest, and I am here with Fire. Fire, my main man, you saw Valhalla in the last game. Do you think they're going to do it again? I mean, they've been fantastic across the board today. Do you think Miramar is going to be the game where they are going to, take first place?
I think so. I think that they have a lot to put up on the leaderboard. They are a very consistent team, so if they can continue with performances that we've seen previously, not even just grabbing winner chicken dinner, but even just being that team who gets into those third party situations, they seem like they're very smart and very cautious about what fights they do take, and that is a sign of champions, and they keep finding themselves in that top 5 situation. So yes, they do stand a chance of grabbing a winner chicken dinner in Miramar.
Yeah, I do love the fact that they've maintained this sense of knowing exactly how they want to play the circle, how they want to play the zone. But then Miramar is an entirely different ball game. Is an entirely different kind of strategy that's required. Because I did talk about Miramar always. You have to have the high ground. You have to have the one up against the next team. You have to be on top of things always. Eliminations come easier to teams that are holding high positions in Miramar. So you have to get into those high positions. But then again, you do not have to forget about the play zone. It's interesting that the play zone in Miramar is very balanced, centered up. There's no too much necessarily shifting left and right like Vikendi. It's not that hectic. So all of these teams, this playing path, it is a sweet one. Runs all the way from Puerto Parisio to Tor, Humada. So all of these teams that play a little bit of west and a little bit of east, I think they should be able to find somewhere to call home. At least for this first part of phase 1.
All right, so we'll see what that means for all of these teams. As you have heard, you can see the boys from Most Wanted and the Extremists pretty close to each other. They might be having a skirmish early on beginning between those teams, as well as the boys right there from Vibe Gaming and 21st Century. So for Vibe Gaming and all 3 brothers, actually, not 21st Century, right there within the center of the park. Also around them, going to Picado, is the boys right there from Solo Esports. We might see a little bit of skirmishes going on even in Hacienda, as the boys from Active Gaming might be landing with another squad as well. So we'll keep an eye on all of those fights and see what that actually does build up to mean. The boys from 21st Century coming in with the boys from Valhalla, and it's all down to very little margins. The champions of the previous game might find themselves in some trouble.
Yeah, speaking of the previous game, unfortunately, I did talk about 21st Century not being one of those teams that could do it. Most Wanted, I felt very bad for them as well in Vikendi, because they did a whole lot of work. They dealt so much significant damage, but all they could walk away with, was one elimination. They were able to get knock after knock after knock, but they just couldn't finish. And the play zone was the one that was doing, most of the damage, from that position. But unfortunately, they didn't make the first move, and now they're stuck here with the Extremists in this area, playing in a split, and the Extremists are also trying to hold out that position. Now, this is necessarily a defining moment for these two teams. They are not necessarily at the bottom. Most Wanted are not necessarily at the bottom of the table right now, but Extremists have finally able to squeeze a couple of points inside, and 21st Century, like we talked about, have finally gotten caught out. And again, 6Ben is trying to get to the rescue. Baby has been knocked down, and is still looking very tricky for them. Valhalla is the team. It is not just any team. It is Valhalla.
Yeah, absolutely. Boys from Valhalla, having grabbing home that winner chicken dinner and no push over, so they're trying as much as possible to hold it on in this one. You can see 007 and Sigma keep on sending the shot onto Quexa's position right there, and they are trying as much as possible to make sure that they do not get that revive onto the player right there, baby. But Quexa is having none of that, as he does get another knock onto one of the players right there from Valhalla, and Beast goes down, and Valhalla is looking like they're in a whole lot of trouble, because now they have only 2 players who are currently up. It's just Xenos and 007 to somehow keep them alive in this game and keep their hopes. They just got the winner with a chicken dinner in the last game, so they'll be looking to build up on that. But look at Xenos. Xenos, my boy, who does not have any heals so far. He's down to pretty much what is 10% HP, getting another knock onto 21st Century. So it's a tough fight going on both ends, and let's see who strategy actually works on and gets that victory in this one.
Ooh, 21st Century though, they've been doing a fantastic job of keeping the game at bay, keeping it balanced. But Valhalla, unfortunately, we did talk about this. This happens every single time you take a chicken dinner, and then the next thing that happens is you get eliminated right out the gate in the next game. 21st Century, unfortunately for them, 6Ben is going to get caught out there. He's all alone. He's out there in the cold. There's no blankets, nobody to save him, nobody to carry him on their back and keep him inside of the game. He's bleeding out second after second, and he is going to be confirmed by Xenos there. And now Valhalla have cut the game to about three versus two scenario. Beast and Xenos working together hand in hand. They do not have any mez, and that is the beauty of it there. Quexa is going to get a knock on Xenos there, and they might just use the opportunity. They know that's a two-man team. They know it's just two players left, but Quexa is careful, has to be careful, might just be dropped down inside a little bit of that area right there. Power is going to take the advance. He knows that he has health. He knows that Beast is not going to be able to save him, but again, Beast does switch to the shotgun, but he is going to be sent back into the lobby. 21st Century doing the Lord's work.
Oh, so we've seen 2 skirmishes in this game so far. The boys from Active Gaming have been taking out Free Esports. I do believe both of them landed in Hacienda. Active Gaming did lose 1 player in that particular fight. The boys from 21st Century as well coming up against the leaders of the last game. The boys from Valhalla, who grabbed home the winner chicken dinner and sending them back home here so far. So we're seeing 2 teams get sent back into the lobby, as we do have some action also coming in between the Extremists and the boys from Most Wanted.
Most Wanted, once again, Lilith, the last player to survive for the guys from Most Wanted. Again, they're getting caught out by the Extremists. Extremists, once again, catching them off guard. I mean, I am loving, the confidence boost coming in from the guys from Extremist. It took them a while, but I believe they've started to find their footing. I believe in every single game today, they've managed to squeeze out a couple of eliminations just to get some points on the board. So they need to do better. They need to be ready. Most Wanted have been slacking behind, and it's so interesting because this is one of those teams I've seen is very, very capable. I'm talking about Fox, Fatboy together. That combo is elite, but it looks like it's not doing the job right now. It looks like they need to dig deeper. They need to find something. They need to get something working for them, because this is the WAPL. You do not want to get caught slacking. You do not want to get caught out on rotation time and time again.
Absolutely. Now turning our sights onto the boys from Fex Actors. You can see them just, trying as much as possible to grab as much loot as they can. They're just moving around, trying to see if they can fortify themselves on the fights that are about to come. Taking a look at the map right here, we're about to move into that stage 2. A lot of teams are currently situated within that zone, so there's not a lot to worry about. 21st Century are not too far away from Junkyard, so they can just find themselves rotating into that spot. But Harsh Esports and One have got to come out all the way from inside the zone into those spots. Power grid is currently free with no one occupying those spaces, but finding yourself in Picado is the boys right there from Solo. Not too far away from them is Vibe Gaming, as well as the boys from First Actors. In Los Angeles, we do have the boys from O3, who have gotten a lot of action so far, finding themselves all alone. We might see them move on and take on several different teams around them, around that region in La Bendita. We do have the boys from Afro Esports all the way towards that southern region, not too far away from One, who they don't have so many teams around them. And in Impala, you do have the boys from Citizen, who are currently sitting down with a full squad. So we're curious to see how this one continues to build up, as we've still got about 14 teams in this game and 50 bodies.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of there's still a whole lot of teams. It is the first phase of the circle, still counting down. We're counting down the minutes until the circle starts to shift, until these teams start to be they start to squeeze out these teams. Unfortunately for the Extremists, they've already lost 1 player here, but I believe they are going to be very capable to hold out these positions against the guys from Most Wanted. They do have the play zone. They do not necessarily need to move too much. They are by the edge of the circle, so they have time to loot up, get some supplies and start to source for vehicles, because Miramar is that map. You do not want to be caught outside without no vehicle. You do not want to get caught out on rotating on foot. You will be sent back into the lobby almost immediately. Active Gaming, they are also one of those teams that need to do better. They need to increase their numbers. They've been doing fine. They've not been doing great. They've just been doing fine. And finally, they're now facing up to a team like First Artics. First Artics is a very, very strong team when it comes to defending positions, but they are actually better when it comes to attack. El Chapo is trying to hold out a position out there, trying to keep the guys from Active Gaming at bay. And I told you, they know how to defend positions. They are spread out very, very thin. Active Gaming trying to take this engagement, but for a fact, that Rag and Bone is just in those compounds, sending some shots towards Anes, and now their vehicle is going to be blown up, so no way for them to escape. Bravo, spots hope right there, and he might just send it back into the lobby. It's beautiful play from El Chapo. The cover fire is brilliant from the guys from First Arctics. Bravo, trying to pull up to the scene. He wants to take a 1v2 versus the guys from Active. The bullet's starting to ring outside towards Anes, and that is the beauty of double teaming. Active Gaming getting caught out right out the gate, then back into the lobby by First Arctics. And I talked about this fire defensive. They had no idea that First Arctics had this position in the defense.
Man, absolutely amazing stuff coming in for the boys from First Arctics right there, as they do send back the boys from Active Gaming into the lobby to get themselves a whole bunch of kills in that one. And First Arctics looking quite strong, as they have still a full squad and got a good position within that zone.
You have to be very careful about how you rotate inside of the play zone. You have to be ready for anything that could go wrong. Extreme Violence getting caught out again by the guys from Men of Blood. Sean actually pulls up again, sends a couple of shots with his AKM, but nothing works right there. 2 versus 1 wins almost every single time. Sean is going to be the next victim towards them again. And now Ronnie, the next one to go down. Extreme Violence are not too violent right now. They are not too violent. Men of Blood are actually much more violent, and unfortunately they might just need to change their name. Wolf again peeks outside, sends some shot by Studio Boy, but it doesn't work. This might just ring the end for the guys from Extreme Violence. After all the cooking that they've done today, it be like say their food go just burn.
Speaking of their foot burning, you can see Senior Boy trying as much as possible to hold his own in this particular fight, but the boy Rage right there, absolutely outstanding and getting that final knock and sending them back into the lobby. They got themselves a whole bunch of eliminations in that one, as they do have 4 eliminations to themselves. They still got a full squad, and they're currently sitting down in this game as one of the teams with the most eliminations, having a full squad in this game. So we're down to 12 teams right here, as we will be moving on to our third stage of the game. It is the boys right there from MOB 21st Century Extremist First Arctics who have been taking and spilling blood so far. Be curious to see what that means as we continue to progress in the zone.
Yeah, Men of Blood are one of those teams that, you don't necessarily know their next plan, but for a fact, they have a lot of experienced player inside of the team. I'm talking about, Creed, and Manuel, but unfortunately, I don't know. I haven't seen Manuel's since this tournament began. Hopefully, I'm going to see him later on, but he is one of the strongest players, in Men of Blood. But yes, I have enjoyed, watching them so far. Yeah, I did see them catch one of the players from Solo Esports in the last game as well. They did get into a little bit of a squabble. You can see Solo Esports now. They do love Miramar. They are very strong in this map. I talked about this 2 days ago. 2 nights ago rather. We saw them. They survived very, very well. They did get some major points in Miramar. It looks like they might just be well on their way to do the exact same thing. And I think they did catch out a couple of players from First Arctics, and I believe that's where their eliminations came from. I'm loving the splits, coming in from the guys from Solo Esports, and it looks like they might just be seeking the last player from First Arctics just to claim those 4 eliminations.
Absolutely lovely stuff coming in right there from several different teams. But speaking about teams, all 3 brothers so far, I don't know. What do you think it is? Do you think that they've not been able to just get into the rhythm because, so many teams have just been absolutely aggressive and they're paying too much respect to the lobby?
I think what's happening is O3 Brothers just haven't cracked the code of the lobby. They've just not cracked the code. They've been doing well enough, but not to their full capabilities, as we all know. They've been doing well enough just to keep themselves out of losing out and not qualifying. That's the trick. That's just what makes it so tricky. They were sitting there in the top half of the leaderboard, somewhere around 18, 17 or 19, somewhere around those parts, and they've not necessarily been able to squeeze too many points out today. I think they've not even garnered up to 10 points, and I talked about them when I saw the leaderboard drop in the last game, and I said they need to do better. They need to do so much more. A whole lot of their fans are expecting a lot from them, and I'm excited to see them dealing some damage towards the guys from Solo Esports. Floyd is going to go down to Nexus right there, and the Doctor is probably the next one going to go down again. Mighty is going to be spotted by Griff, might just get the confirmation. 03 looking very, very dominant. They're looking very strong.
Ooh, the boys from Solo Esports do need to somehow keep themselves alive in these games, but so far they're coming up against several different teams that do need this performance, and they're coming up against the boys from 03 Brothers. You can see Samurai on the edge trying as much as possible to provide the support onto his teammate, but his teammate will be sent back into the lobby and is down to just Samurai. Will he just be moving away from this spot and trying as much as possible to get into that zone? But Nexus is hot on his tails, sending in the grenade after grenade, and this one looks like it might just finally seal the deal and send them back into the lobby.
Agba they call him Nexus Agba, and he tells us why the grenade is his weapon of choice. He connects it every single time, and I was giving props towards the guys from Solo Esports to be able to squeeze out, first Artics, but somehow first Artics is still alive and Solo Esports are back into the lobby. 03 Brothers, courtesy of them. That was a beautiful play, coming in from 03, but then that's the beauty of the game, so Solo Esports, they just kept on rotating. They didn't choose a spot. They just kept on rotating, and they got caught. They had a play zone. They had an area to play from. After eliminating a couple of players from First Arctic, they had that area to play from. They had that position, to play from. But they decided to start making rotations, unnecessary rotations, and the guys from 03 made them pay for it.
Absolutely. Quick work done by the boys from 03 against Solo Esports, and they'll be looking to see if they can come back in the coming days and perform quite well. But 03 Brothers, we haven't seen much action from them today. Now coming into the mix and getting themselves a whole bunch of kills right here, getting into that 11th spot. But we're also seeing some action going down between the boys from Sidizens Gaming against the boys from Extremist, as they've gotten some eliminations to themselves, and it does look like the boys right there from Sidizens have taken them out. But while they were making some noise in that region, Afro Esports have now approached, looking to see if they can do and deal some damage of their own. 7 Gordier sending on them nade onto that position where Picky is at. Does a little bit of damage, but not enough to send him back down.
Oh, that's an unfortunate scenario. The Citizens getting caught out there. They are going to be very, very surrounded by the guys from Afro Esports. Neo peeks inside. He is going to be dropped immediately by Gordier. The Citizens now aware of their position. Ooh, the guys from Afro Esports are taking them one after the other. The bullet starting to fly outside. Jetto is going to be sent back into the lobby by OJ. And now Joker is going to be spotted. Gordier is going to be dropped down as well. A couple of bullets sent their way from Peachy there. Peachy doing the absolute Lord's work. But Bego is trying to drive in, trying to find an angle. Is going to be rotating around the players from Afro Esports there, and he is going to pull up. Bego gets them another knock onto Hunter there, and now the Citizens are backed in. It's a 3 versus 3 scenario, but another bullet runs right through to Bego, drops him down to his knees. Peachy playing from behind with the M16, doing a fantastic job, but he peeks outside with the grenade right there, and he is going to be spotted. Afro Esports are still 2 players up. The grenade still coming to ring outside. Bego is trying to play. He is going to be confirmed surely by Peachy there, and that is going to be the end for Bego. Citizens down to 2 players, unfortunately, I believe, and one player is still going to be knocked down.
Bego making the effort to go and get in those knocks, but I feel like the position that was more important to go in and get those knocks was Peachy, because Peachy was the one that was the Trojan horse coming in from that position all the way down on that street, getting the knock after knockers, and also OJ. The angles that the boys right there from Afro Esports had was the deciding factor in this particular game. Yes, they did lose Hunter and Neo in close range fights against the boys from Citizens, but my goodness, those angles turn things around. Can the boys from Afro Esports get these eliminations onto the rest of the players right there from Citizens, or will Citizens find a way to fight back in this particular one and take out either one of the players right there, OJ or Peachy, from the boys from Afro Esports? If they do take down Peachy or at least OJ, they might just be able to turn things around.
Peachy versus Joker. There's an even fight, an even distribution, but Peachy has more health, and that is a beautiful use of the cover right there. He switches to the left, switches to the right. That's a beautiful, fantastic play from Peachy. He's just trying to lure Joker there for his teammate to eliminate him, and that is the play. Just look at that beautiful play from Peachy, using the terrain, using that area to his advantage. He is going to be dropped by Joker though. It's a 1 versus 1. Looks like Joker might just take the advantage. Beautiful play coming in from Joker there for the Citizens. It is a 1 versus 1 scenario. He is going to be spotted again. OJ sends a couple of shots with the UMP towards his position. UMP, weapon of choice. All these teams, they love the UMP. It's the easy, beautiful SMG, for that 1v1, for that close quarters combat. It is, I do love the ability of these teams to hold out to each other. You've seen the Citizens, you've seen Afro Esports. They've not, they've just loved the violence. They've continued to keep it pushing. They've continued to keep these teams at bay, and that is what I love to see.
Man, absolutely lovely stuff coming in between both of these teams. It is mutually assured destruction on both ends. As you can see right there, Joker not holding back as he continues to send on shots right there onto OJ. And will this play zone do as much damage as him, as he's now pulling up onto that location where OJ is at? The zone is doing its work, as well as your boy Joker blowing up the vehicle and sending Afro Esports back into the lobby. Citizens winning that game, but my goodness, what hurt has been done to them in that particular fight, as they do lose 3 of their members.
That was actually absolutely wonderful to see. Big shout out to the guys from Afro Esports and the Citizens for giving us a beautiful performance. Now that is what you call balanced diet. Battle, survival of the fittest. They lost, they all sacrificed, they gave their blood, sweat and tears, to each and every single team out here. And that is what I love to see. Big shout out to the guys from Afro Esports. They did manage to get some eliminations before being sent on their way, and now the guys from Men of Blood might just be able to do the next trick for themselves.
Oh, absolutely. The boys from O3 still holding down a full squad in this one. They've got themselves 7 kills so far. Citizens lost 3 members coming up against Afro Esports. Paid the ultimate sacrifice, but at the end of the day, they got the eliminations to show for it that they have been battling it out. They've got the wounds of war, but we'll see what that means on in their placement points as they continue to progress onto that final circle. We got 8 teams so far as we're moving into the 6th stage of this map. The boys from MOB have got a position within that zone, as well as Vibe Gaming. O3 brothers are making the rotations into that zone, but they're getting shut up by the boys from 1. Hash Esports have got a corner, but they've got to move into a good spot within that zone where the boys from Vibe Gaming are currently situated. So they might be looking to rotate away from them and find themselves really at the sides of the boys from O3. We'll see how that one continues to play between these few teams and what action does begin to happen.
Yeah, it could be a very sticky situation, coming from the play style that Hash Esports have chosen to adopt right here. They do have a complete team, but they do not have the play zone yet, and their vehicle is definitely going to be blown to smithereens if they choose to use it. Now is the time for utilities. Now is the time for smoke grenades. Now is the time, to shield, your position from the ops. You do not want to get caught out. O3 brothers are not inside of the play zone. Now is the time for them to move, and again, O3, they need to do better. They need to do more. They've managed to get themselves 7 eliminations, outside of the cut, but they still need an amazing number. They do need to get that chicken dinner. They do have 4 players up, so they do have everything working for their good. All they have to do is maintain the energy, keep the energy levels up, and get themselves into the right positions so that they can get a chicken dinner and some significant points in this lobby.
Absolutely. Speaking of significant points, you can see the boys from O3 brothers have lost a couple of their players, one of them to the play zone, and they're getting hit up by several different teams around them. Hash brothers trying as much as possible to get into that zone, but Riley will have none of that as he does send them back into the lobby right there in 5th place. So Vibe Gaming in this one haven't really gotten a lot of action like the rest of the teams. Still holding a full squad, but they've got 1 kill to themselves. Can they begin to light things up in this final circle? They have definitely got to move into that zone first of all. They've got MOB right there in front of them, as well as the boys from 21, and it is a very tough time as all of these teams are currently just in front of them taking on that fight.
Ooh, the guys from Men of Blood being a thorn in the side of 21st Century, and that is going to be the end of 21. They couldn't do something in this lobby, but they did manage to go out in 4th place. And now O3 Brothers moving in from the north, trying to get inside of the play zone. Men of Blood with 7 eliminations. It looks like, they are ready to take the engagement to all of these teams. They're ready. O3 Brothers pulled up to the scene. Grenades and all the utilities starting to come out. They are zooming positions. That is a beautiful split. It's a diamond formation coming in from O3. They're ready to take each and every single team, one after the other to send them back into the lobby, and that is what I love to see. Men of Blood still playing defensive, still trying to keep it back. They do have 7 eliminations. They've already done a fantastic job, but then Vibe as well have been caught. Vibe, like you said, only 1 elimination so far, so they are not necessarily the most, they do not have the highest confidence level right now, and it's starting to show.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you got to be getting into those fights, regardless of pulling up or full squad. You can see them not getting eliminated and weakened out on our side into a 4v4 situation between the boys from MOB and O3 Brothers. Riley trying to cook that nade and send it onto Creed and Rage's position from MOB. Does that do damage? It does not, as they are able to evade that one. But he's not holding back. He sends another nade onto Psycho's position, who is able to evade it. And what looked like it was the boys from O3 and the front foot is now them having 2 players correctly put to the ground. But Riley's is having none of that as he takes 1 player down while he was trying to take Creed down back as well. He does go down to the boys right there from MOB. So Men of Blood, we will seal this one through as they get themselves 12 kills while battling the boys from O3 in that final circle.
What a way to clap. What a way to clap some cheeks, Men of Blood. Man, that grenade was next level. That was one hell of a grenade. I can't even lie. I did not believe, the guys from O3 would, go for a 2-for-1. That was a 2-for-1 special grenade right there. It landed on both of their heads. One grenade. It just landed on their head, man. That grenade just landed on their skulls, man. I sent them to the ground straight. They were falling in love. O3, sorry, they got caught. They were just complacent there, because they had advantages. All they had to do was use utilities. All they had to do was use smoke grenades. All they had to do was use smoke grenades. They didn't have cover of terrain. The guys from Men of Blood used the cover of terrain. They played behind. They played at the back and waited for O3 to just extend, give out their position, and the grenades started to come outside. Even when they pulled up to that position, the guys from Men of Blood were already seeking them out. They already knew where they had split out, because they had 1 person in front and then 3 players, levering from behind. And that is what the grenade did. That was a beautiful grenade coming in from, Men of Blood to send O3 back, send them packing. That grenade was fantastic, man. See as they just scattered, they just sprawl for ground. That was absolutely just unfortunate, but big shout out to the guys from O3 still. They did manage to squeeze out double eliminations, so that is what I wanted to see. We talked about them performing, and this is O3 performing.
Yeah, absolutely. The O3 Brothers grabbing home the 2nd spot and still getting themselves 11 eliminations in that particular one, being absolutely outstanding. They needed that because the performances coming into today's game in the first 3 games weren't really that much to write home about. But in this particular game, they've been able to show what exactly they're capable of. Going into that final circle against the boys from Men of Blood, who also needed to get some performances. They were maybe caught off guard a little bit with that nade that took out 2 of their players. We'll see in coming days what that actually means for them. But very soon, we'll be taking a look at the damages, who's the MVP of the match, and the overall leaderboard for today, who stands on top as number 1.
Yes, I believe it is going to be Wolf there. Yes, he is Wolf. He did do a fantastic job, with this use of utilities there. I mean, he dealt significantly high amounts of damage. You have to give him kudos for that one, and he was also detrimental to the rest of these teams. He did survive for an incredibly a long amount of time, even when he did receive some damage, taking on the guys from Vibe and 21st Century, even O3 Brothers, but Men of Blood did a fantastic job, and I talked about the Eranjo game, where they had the opportunity to eliminate 21st Century and claim that chicken dinner, because I believed, that if they did take out 21st Century, they would have been able to do it. They did not have the best of games in Vikendi and in Sanok, but they did show up here. They showed up full time. O3 Brothers as well. It's so interesting though, because it is not too far-fetched. O3 Brothers, they did more fighting. They did way more fighting than Men of Blood, but looking at the numbers, Fire, do you think this is enough to keep, O3 Brothers' hopes alive? Because this is their best performance in the entire games that we've had so far. This is the best performance from O3 Brothers. Do you think this performance alone is enough?
O3 Brothers have shown in recent times that they are, a squad not to underestimate, obviously. But sometimes when you're in a lobby with some of these teams who are not just doing well because they are big names, but also you have the guys who you consider as underdogs now stepping things up as well. Sometimes it gets a little bit confusing because it's almost as if you're in a new lobby. You're trying to understand how teams are playing. So now that they are now beginning to get into the rhythm, into that form again, maybe they have done enough or will be doing enough to get into that senior league. And I believe that when they do get into the next stage, they might begin to show us a bit more what they're capable of. But for now, everyone's just trying to feel each other. It's really violence in this junior league, and there's no respect. Nobody's respecting the elders here.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's no respect for the weekend, that is for sure. But then O3 coming in clutch, just side by side. They did do a side by side with the guys from Men of Blood. That's to tell you that they were absolutely ready. They did do significantly more damage, but the Men of Blood were just more coordinated. Even the Citizens, once again, the Citizens are still here. I think I've seen the Citizens in like appear like 3 out of 4 games when it came to dealing damage and eliminations. I think it's only in Sanok, they did get caught out and eliminated by Afro Esports early enough. But then let's not forget about Afro Esports again. They did get into a fight with the Citizens again, and they did get eliminated and sent back into the lobby. But then not after they had dropped them all the way down. But take a look, Fire. Take a look at the performances coming in from these teams.
Man, absolutely close stuff right there. 21st Century finishing with that top spot in 39 points. But you can see how close things are between all of these teams right here, Priest, as we do have just 2 points separating the first and the third, with 39, 38, and 37 between 21st Century, Men of Blood, and Afro Esport. Valhalla sitting down in 4th spot with 31 points, as well as Citizen Gaming. Now, all 3 brothers have been able to climb all the way up on the leaderboard with the performance that they had in the previous games. Not a lot of rank points, but they have been getting those kills, and that definitely is showing up for them.
Yeah, I am impressed that most of these teams were still able to get double-digit points, at the end of the day. But if you take a look, you can see here that it is very interesting, though, because the guys from Afro Esports, they did have a game where they got 17 eliminations, if I'm not mistaken. Today, Afro Esports got 17 eliminations in a match, but they are not first place. That says a lot.
Yeah.
That says a lot. Imagine getting 17 eliminations and a chicken dinner, and you're still not first place. What does that say? The lobby choke. It will die. So you have to be careful. You cannot be caught slipping, And 21st Century, they've maintained that consistency throughout. But then it is not by a significantly tight margin. It's not like an apex margin, so far. But I have enjoyed watching the consistency from these teams game in and game out. And now we are going to see more of this tomorrow again, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we are still going to catch you guys tomorrow. It is going to be WAPL Day 5, and it's still me, your boy Priest, and I am still going to be there with my main man Fire to bring you guys more PUBG Mobile content. It is the West African Pro League. It is brought to you by 3 Crowns, and it is all about violence, sweet violence, and vibes to boot. But it is going to be good night from me and my guy Fire, and we will catch you guys tomorrow, same time. Peace.
See you then.